We're live.
All right.
My name's Angelo, and welcome to We Want Picks. Jakey and I are going to break down the entire UFC 292 fight card. We're going to give you our picks, our predictions, our bets, and our DraftKings plays. Before we talk about UFC 292, let's talk about the success that was UFC Vegas 78. I made money. Jacob made money. Jacob's lock of the week hit. I had two safety parlays. They both hit, and that takes the safety parlay's all-time ROI to 30.74%. Nobody on this planet is putting out parlays week in and week out and hitting them at a 30% ROI. Literally nobody. What? You said you weren't going to interrupt. First thing
I didn't interrupt. You just called on me.
What?
Isaac Dolgarian, lock of the week, just announced he's expecting a child.
I saw that.
Congratulations to lock of the week, Isaac.
Shit. Great.
Do you know they don't even have a car? They've been Ubering everywhere for like 7 months. The one car doesn't work.
They don't have a car because they can't afford it or because they don't want one?
And I don't think the RV works either. I think they just can't afford it.
Then why are you having a kid?
Well, sometimes
that I will never
Angelo,
understand.
I know I don't expect you to know this, but sometimes in the heat of the moment, things happen that you don't expect, and you're making decisions you never thought that you were gonna make, and you start imagining your future in that moment. Like, actually, I think I could handle a kid right now. I think I could. I think it's worth it,
dude. Kids are so expensive.
I think it's worth it. It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine.
I got two daughters. I absolutely love them. I could not imagine my life without them. I can afford them, and they're still expensive. They're still a giant expense. I don't understand people who can't wait to run out and then have kids. Obviously, it's an accident. But even then, how are you having it's?
He said he's actually. I think the quote was he was pretty excited. He's been looking forward or wanting, and congratulations to him for sure.
No, and he'll find he's gonna be a superstar. He's gonna make a ton of money. It'll be fine. I just don't ever understand people who have a kid.
Embrace the grind. I'd stay in that RV until I was fucking world champion. Just embrace that grind.
Well, there you go. So listen, we just talked about the safety parlay at a 30% ROI. Obviously, that's a premium membership thing. And then Abhishek comments, also, you guys got to subscribe to premium. I finally got brainwashed. That's why I repeat the pitch all the time. And I wish I did it sooner. Thank you, Abhishek, for that very, very much. Premium membership is going to get you the safety parlay. It's going to get you tools and information. And look, I forgot that this was the next slide. Look what our premium members did. If you watch my quick picks video, this was like $33,000 or $34,000 in winnings. After I filmed quick picks, I was then sent a ticket by Justin. I blur out people's names because I don't know how much. He sent me a ticket. There you go, big guy. If you can see this number, this is a $22,000 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 leg parlay, and then a $2,800 bet on Khalil. That definitely brought these winnings up. But we get hundreds and hundreds of tickets from premium members that are cashing week in and week out. Thank you to them for sharing those tickets, and thank you to them for being premium members. These are only premium members. They pay $10 a month at WeWantPicks.com, and they have full access to the line movement tracker. They have full access to the detailed data, metrics, and analytics. They have full access to the DraftKings lineup optimizer, which is going to build 150 different lineups. And they have full access to all of our DraftKings content, including the ownership projections. The ownership projections are literally the best in the business. I know not everybody watching this does large field DraftKings tournaments or even competing in DraftKings fantasy. But if you are, we have the best ownership projections on this planet. They are loaded into the optimizer, and you can use them while building your own lineups by hand. Companies like Awesemo, Roto Grinders, they charge a fortune for the exact same content, and it's lesser than. This is a number. This is a very objective thing. Was your number better or worse? And ours, week in and week out, are better. WeWantPicks.com. Click become a member. It is only $10 a month. And before you become a premium member, or actually after, do it after, please after. Go to WeWantPicks.com/bets. Sign up with any one of our betting partners. Make a deposit, and I will send you $50 as a thank you. It's affiliate marketing. I paid out I paid like, I don't know, like $350 today to catch up on the last couple of days. Just go to weonpicks.com/bets. You have to use our link. I saw somebody came to me and said, hey, can I get paid? I looked up the account. I'm like, I don't see your account. Where did you sign up? And he said, oh, I went to betonline.ag/WWP. Unfortunately, that doesn't do it. You have to use our link from our website. That'll get you into the affiliate, and then we get paid, and then I take off $50 from that, and I give it right back to you. weonpicks.com/bets. Sign up, make it a deposit. I will send you $50. Let me address the one very annoying thing in the room right now. The website's down. So the website I just told you to go to, it is down. It'll be back up like literally any minute, in an hour or two, something like that. GoDaddy had a server issue on the server that our website is housed. So we have a big managed WordPress environment. We pay a ton of money, all this crap. But at the end of the day, if they have a server issue, they have a server issue. So they're working through that. I guess it's a known issue that affected, many, many sites. Ours happened to be one of them. So if you're not accessing it right now, it will be back up. I don't want to spend too much time talking about that because this video is going to get 15,000 views and 14,000 of them are going to be while the website's working. So it will be up and running. If you're watching live, give it a little bit. If you're not watching live, it should be up by now. Jakey boy, you have anything to say before we deep dive this weirdo of a card?
I had a perfect card last week. Looking to repeat that.
With a bad decision, but I get it. Perfect card.
Thirsty, huh? Jesus Christ.
Very. Dude, I've been on the phone with GoDaddy. I didn't sleep not 1 minute last night. Not 1 minute. 8:30 at night, I saw the website had an issue.
You told me that you woke up at 3, so you were asleep at some point.
I was trying to sleep laying down, and I would check my phone every 5 minutes.
It's already a good story. You don't have to be more dramatic than the story already is.
Every 5 minutes, I would check. So, it's funny. I told Tiffany, I was like, I didn't sleep well at all last night. She's like, yeah, you didn't snore, which tells me you didn't sleep. I was like, exactly. Exactly.
That's embarrassing. Right. Snoring is embarrassing.
You can't help it.
Well.
Okay. Tread lightly. Brandon says.
You definitely
premium
don't.
Memberships. Brandon again says become a premium member. So let's go ahead and jump into this card. Opening up UFC 292, we have Austin Hubbard taking on Kurt Holobaugh. Austin Hubbard 15-6 overall, 2-3-2 in his last 5, and that was before getting into the Ultimate Fighter house. I'm not including those fights in their records because those aren't professional fights, those are exhibitions. He's taking on Kurt Holobaugh, 19-7 overall, 2-3 in his last 5. He is on a 2-fight win streak and then a 2-year layoff, all before getting into the house. But he has made his way to the finale. I like Kurt Holobaugh a good amount. I've actually been watching him for a while. If you look at his record, he's 0-6 in the UFC. The reality is he's 1-5 in the UFC. He did beat my good friend from Connecticut, Matt Bissett, and he looked great in that fight. The guy comes forward. He's a good striker. He has absolute incredible combinations. Everything he throws, 8 punches, 6 punches. He's going to come forward, throw the combinations, throw with power. He's got a nice solid stance, decent takedown defense, and he's honestly solid everywhere. That win over Matt Bissett, I think it was a contender. Yeah, it was a contender series fight. That win was overturned. He did take an IV, which is banned by USADA, but like I said, you're going to see 0-6 in the UFC. It's 1-5. He's taking on Austin Hubbard. This guy is gritty, pretty well-rounded, so he's good everywhere. He's got a ton of heart, good amount of power in his hands. Mostly a striker, but he's pretty well-rounded overall. He can be taken down, but he's got a good get-up game. His official stint in the UFC, when he was actually in the UFC before the Ultimate Fighter, he went 3-4. Then he got a couple of regional wins, made his way onto the Ultimate Fighter. So this is serving as the Ultimate Fighter finale, the Conor McGregor, Michael Chandler finale. This is one of the fights. The other fight, we don't know yet, but that will be, once the website's up and running, you'll see the breakdown there, and if there's any bets on it, we'll have those. We're not going to be able to talk about it during this video because we don't know yet. I like Kurt in this fight. I like the underdog. It's easy to say he's winless in the UFC, but, let me read off his most 3 recent losses in the UFC. Thiago Moises, good. Shane Burgos, good. Hani Barcelos, good. And these were in 2018, 2019 when these people were all very good. So I think Kurt's striking combinations, his power potentially could be way too much. The only concern I have, and the reason I didn't place a bet, is Austin Hubbard's got a good chin on him and takedown. So in theory, he could just take whatever he's going to take, get a takedown, and just ride it out. But I do think Kurt is in a very good spot to win this fight, and I think these opening odds made a lot more sense than the current odds. These are really wide odds. Kurt's good. What do you think, Jakey boy?
Are you gonna place a bet? Or...
I did not. No.
Okay. I'll be honest with you. I don't really care about the Ultimate Fighter. I don't watch the Ultimate Fighter. I don't really care about the Ultimate Fighter. But randomly for this fight, this could end up being one of the fight of the nights because, as you mentioned, both these guys are kind of tough, gritty. I do agree Kurt has the power advantage. Austin has the wrestling advantage. But this could easily turn into the fight of the night. They're fighting for for the UFC lives again, the second chances to come back. So this could randomly turn into a real-life slobber knocker and be a lot of fun. But breaking down the fights, placing bets on the fights, for me, is not that interesting. I was like watching film, and I was just like, a lot of times, most of the times, I'm motivated to watch films because I'm excited about the card. I was watching film on these guys. I'm like, all right, just move on. But Austin's gonna be my pick because of the wrestling, because I think that he can take the power of Kurt. I think it definitely turns sloppy. I think both these guys are gonna have their moments. It should be a fun fight, but I think Austin in the end is just a little bit grittier, and I kind of see that sparkle in his eye. I did watch a couple episodes of Tough early on, and I think he was one of the earlier fights, so I did watch it. And he does seem motivated. So
no, Austin's definitely good. Austin's the more well-rounded fighter. I just love the striking combinations of Kurt are fantastic. He literally will throw 6, 7, 8 punch combinations, not just like loosey-goosey throwing things out there, just actual combinations, and I do like that for him. Both of these guys have lost plenty, so it's not like one's a wild up-and-coming prospect, and that was the theme of The Ultimate Fighter. I like Kurt. Therefore, I am not going to have Austin in my DraftKings lineup. $8,400 is a decent price if he's going to get 1,000 takedowns and ride it out and just chill on top. But, I'm probably not going to do anything with either one of these guys. We'll have 12 fights total, so 24 fighters to pick from in our lineup. So I think I'm probably going to put these guys out of them. I would assume you'll do the same, considering you didn't even watch any of The Ultimate Fighter.
I just said I watched a couple episodes.
Oh, okay. Which ones? What happened in the episodes?
Austin won his fight. I know that. And I saw one where Conor was like in the basement. I saw the one where he gives the kid, what's funny too is when that kid came with like these custom action figures, which weren't even really that great. I thought they were actually going to be like awesome, like handmade or whatever. He just takes other action figures and puts it on these action figures. That's that weird looking toy in Toy Story that just kind of get all put together. And Conor's like, oh man, this is great, man. Can I pay you for him? Can I buy him? And the kid's like, yeah, you can buy him. And Conor pulls out this stack that's probably fucking 20, 30, maybe $50,000, and the kid's eyes light up. And he's like, boom, 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 boom. 1,000 will do it? And the kid's like, oh yeah, because I think he thought he was gonna get like fucking $10,000 or something.
Yeah, because
I was like, pop. There you go.
Meanwhile, he would have been lucky if $100 would have been incredibly generous.
Those toys sucked.
Those poor bastard.
Anyway, literally is just like taking pieces off other than and then kind of painting. I expected when he pulled it out, I thought it was gonna be like this custom 3D printed. It just fucking other parts stuck to other parts. I'm like, what the fuck is this? Every kid does that. Why is this kid special? Every kid did that. Well, I didn't play with dolls, but
it's very. And you would change the outfits and the shoes and stuff.
Everyone wore a dress in my room.
So this is a tea party. Buckle in, motherfuckers.
Pinky in the fucking air. Right now.
Run it back.
Get that fucking pinky up.
Anyway, it's an interesting fight to open up this card. It's not like you said, it may be very, very exciting. It's not the biggest name. I think this Ultimate Fighter, I think this was sort of a dud, meaning they thought they were going to throw Conor at it, and it was going to revive the series and be this huge thing. It was on ESPN, not even ESPN Plus. I don't know anybody who's like, actually Josh the Web Guy watches it. I don't know anybody who religiously is like, yes.
I literally try. I watched the first episode and I was like, is this really what this show's about? Because I've never watched it ever, so I didn't know what to expect.
I watched like the first 8, and they were awesome.
And then I watched the second episode, and I was like, "Oh, this is fucking boring." It's like
this season
it's just so shallow. There's no like depth. I thought there was gonna be like the real world and stuff, like depth to it with the characters in the house and stuff. But everything is just so surface. Even with the coaches, there's just nothing. It's like 30 seconds of Connor like training him. So I thought it was gonna be like in depth. I was like, "Oh, this fucking sucks."
The first couple of seasons were spectacular. It was the real world. Like, they let him drink. They let him do whatever. It was wild. And now if I have the choice, hey, you want to watch The Ultimate Fighter with fights that aren't live? Like, the fights aren't live. So you want to watch The Ultimate Fighter or the challenge is on? Yeah, I'm going to watch the challenge 10 out of 10 times. Or Big Brother.
The challenge isn't live either.
No, you're right. But I would, that's what I'm saying. Like,
and it's
between two I don't give a shit.
WWE.
That show's great. Challenge is great.
At the end of every script, CT wins.
CT's the man. That dude's the man. Anyway, become a premium member. WeWantPicks.com. It's only $10 a month. You'll get everything you could ever imagine, and then even more than that. Next up, at UFC 292, we have the first of 2 Silvas on this card. We have Karine Silva taking on Maryna Moroz. Karine Silva, 16-4 overall, 5-0 in her last 5. I got it all mixed up. 5-0 in her last 5. She is riding a 7-fight stoppage streak. She's taking on Maryna Moroz, 11-4 overall, 3-2 in her last 5. She's coming off what I thought was a pretty poor performance against Jennifer Maia. Maryna Moroz is a striker. She's got decent volume. She mixes up those strikes pretty well. She's got nice movement in her feet. She does like to avoid the pocket. She does not want to be in a firefight. If she is in the pocket, she's hittable. She's got a negative striking differential, which you'll see here in a minute. As of late, though, she started to work in some takedowns. She's turning into a little bit of a wrestler. She's got 5 takedowns in her last 4 fights. She's coming off that loss to Jennifer Maia. I thought she looked horrible. She threw a ton of punches. Nothing landed at all. She was getting hit with power, losing the exchanges. Literally did nothing in that fight. But the good news is we now know Maryna Moroz actually has a chin on her. And she's taking on Karine Silva. Karine Silva's a powerful grappler. She's going to work forward, going to get the takedown, and then immediately start looking for submissions, either on top or on bottom. She's got 16 wins with 16 stoppages. Some are ground and pound, some are submissions, but I don't think any of them are on her feet, right? That she needs this fight on the ground to get it done. She's going to plot forward, tight guard, bomb, work it to the cage, try to get that takedown. It's just literally that simple. And she's coming up that first round submission win over Ketlin Souza. Couple of things. 1, these 2 already fought. I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit. Everybody, I didn't mention it in the quick picks because it doesn't matter. They fought 9 years ago. I don't think anything about that fight matters.
Well,
at all.
I beat your ass 9 years ago, and I'd still do the same thing.
Okay, would you like to fight this weekend? We can record it for Fight Foods.
I think I'll be focused on the fights.
We could do it earlier. We could do it Sunday. Tonight, tomorrow. You tell me when. Here's an open invitation for you and I to fight.
Hold on, let me check it. Let me look at my calendar. Go ahead, keep going, and I'm gonna try and find a date for us. I'm gonna try to find a date for us. Here we go.
Yeah, sure. You're just trying to outweigh my heart, is what you're trying to do, or wait out my heart.
I mean, that's the end of August.
It is hot out. I'm really pushing it. Anyway, they fought. It does not matter. It was so long ago. They're different fighters now. Using that as a barometer, I personally don't think it means anything. Karine Silva is finish or bust.
February 9th.
Done. Book it. Write it down. February 9th. Everybody here who's watching this, who always says who would win in a fight, Angelo or Jacob, apparently it's February 9th. Don't let us forget. Don't let us forget. I won't. Well, I might, but don't let us. Jacob and I will fight on February 9th. We'll sell tickets. It'll be a charity thing. Or just live stream. Any way you want it, baby. That's the way you need it. Okay. Karine Silva needs to get this to the ground to win the fight. She should be able to get it to the ground. She should be able to win the fight. Maryna Moroz is tough, though. Maryna Moroz isn't the type of person you're just going to quickly submit. And that's what makes this tricky, because if Karine Silva doesn't finish this fight in the first round or the second round, who the hell knows what she's going to look like? Because Maryna Moroz is tough. And if you go back and you watch Karine Silva's Contender Series fight, if her opponent wasn't just straight up obsessed with getting Karine to the ground, Karine loses that fight. She was outstruck. If she can't get the submission, she's got nothing. Maryna Moroz should be the much better striker. I still think Karine wins. I still think she gets it to the ground. She should be able to get it done. She's the far more dangerous fighter. But, I get that Karine's the favorite. I don't necessarily think the line should have flipped, if that makes sense. If Karine was still the underdog, I would understand. What do you think, Jakey boy?
Yeah, it's very rare that they have fought before, and the person who lost and really got dominated in that fight is the favorite in this fight. And that just shows to how much she has put into all these finishes. And I think she does deserve it. I mean, if you look at all these finishes and how she's doing them, she probably does deserve to be the favorite, even though she's already lost to Moroz. But there are two fights that I want people to watch before they start betting on this fight. If you already placed a bet, you might want to hedge it. I've played a little bit on both sides here, so what I'm going to say, I'm pretty confident, but I understand the dangers of Silva. So, you already mentioned the Silva fight, her Contender Series fight. Please watch that fight because she was getting absolutely mauled in that first round off her back, and she had no intentions of getting back to her feet. She was playing the guard game, and not even like a good guard game. It wasn't like moving the hips for the triangles or arm bars or this and that. It was like omoplatas and gogoplatas, which is like, Angelo, you can tell me, it's like one of the most basic things. Nobody is getting submitted in the UFC by omoplatas and gogoplatas.
Gogoplata, you're probably saying that wrong. Omoplatas, nobody's getting... Gogoplatas are like super complex. Or at least like...
Well, I mean, she was throwing up all this nonsense type guard game stuff, and that's all she was doing over and over and over, getting the shit beat out of her. The second round, it started happening again. You could see in that second round, right before that, if you watch the fight, right before that Hail Mary guillotine, as Angelo mentioned, that girl was wrestling for no reason at that point. You could tell she was broken. She was gassed. She was out of there, and the Hail Mary guillotine presented herself. She pulled it. She got it, and she ended up winning that fight. But if you watch that fight, and then you watch Maryna Moroz fight Mayra Bueno Silva, who was just steamrolling everyone, and you watch the top control and the top pressure that Moroz had on a dangerous grappler and Bueno Silva, I promise you that you will see this fight differently. If Karine ends up getting a takedown and is on top, that is a good... I mean, she's going to look good and she's going to have success there, and I hedged my bet in a way. But I am heavy this week on Moroz money line because I believe she is tough. Watch the shots that she's eating. You mentioned you tested her chin. Even against Bueno Silva, tired in the third round, eating clean right hands like it was very easy. She is tough. Her top control is very, very good. If she gets half guard on top of Silva in the first round, Silva is going to get beat down. She's going to gas, and she's going to lose this fight. I'm all over Moroz here, but I understand the dangers in Karine. So if you're a premium member, you understand how I played this fight, and I think I played it really, really well.
Well, I was just looking at the odds to see what Karine Silva inside the distance decision no action is because she's tough as well, right? But anyway, it's minus 260. It's minus 280. It's too far gone.
Rose can finish her late.
Karine Silva wins inside the distance is plus 165. Maryna Moroz wins inside the distance is plus 350. You could throw $25 on both of those, and as long as this fight doesn't go to the distance, you made money.
There you go. Angelo's broke the books.
Idiots.
No one's ever thought of that.
Idiots. I mean, $8,300 in DraftKings, $7,900 in DraftKings. Listen, if you think Karine Silva wins, you got to spend it. She's a cash cow in draft. You have to spend the money if you think she wins. Because history says she's going to win by submission, win by finish. She's going to get takedowns. I mean, if you think she wins, you got to do it. But a lot of people are loving Maryna Moroz, and I know she's a big underdog for a lot of people, especially on a card where you could argue underdogs are super easy on this card or super hard. This actually feels like a UFC 289 card. What's the one I went to? Is that the one I went to?
Oh my god, 290 or 289, 290, something like that. I was actually at UFC 285, and she's actually Amanda Hebos has been posting some pics.
She was dancing with some street guy. Anyway, it feels like that kind of card where there's some obvious favorites that might not be obvious. Like Robert Whittaker. Didn't pan out the way that people thought. Anyway, what's her name? Yui didn't pan out the way people thought. This feels like that kind of card because there's a couple of spots that are just almost too easy. And it's like, there's no way these all hit. This might be one of them. Karine Silva, $8,300 in DraftKings. If you think she wins, she's going to be worth that money. Maryna Moroz, $7,900 in DraftKings. Even if she wins, I don't know how well she will actually score. But if you want to see the full DraftKings analysis and breakdown and all that information, weonpicks.com. Click Become a Member. You can unlock an entire world of DraftKings insight, tools, information, data, and anything you need to build a winning DraftKings lineup. We got a couple of super chatteroots.
Yeah, can I give a fucking word in? You didn't even ask me about goddamn DraftKings or nothing.
What do you think about DraftKings?
Stupid bitch, man. No, I was going to tell somebody to please place a Moroz round 2, round 3 submission prop bet, sprinkle it, and then Saturday night, I want you to come on Twitter and thank me for it. Round 2, round 3 submission for Moroz. It's plus 2,000, plus 2,500.
There's just no way.
I mean, if you I watch the Contender Series fight and look how tired she was in the second round.
I understand, but I just don't think she's going to get submitted.
Can't wait to clip this. Hey, okay. Twitter. If you're seeing us on Twitter, I told you so. That'll play.
We have a $5 super chat from Alan. He said, February 9th, the over-under, Jacob shows up in a pink singlet. The over-under should be he's going to pretend this didn't happen and never show up. No way Jacob's going to fight me. He knows. Only people who see us sitting down and I'm in a giant oversized chair. Only those people have no idea what happens. Everybody else knows.
You can stand up and do a little twirl. Get in a wrestling stance. Scoot back and get a wrestling stance. Come on. Let's see a little butt scoot, Angelo.
Stance. Well, that's not wrestling, is it?
If you wear that gi, I'll choke you the fuck out.
Okay, I'm done. I'll wear a gi. Grab it. Do whatever the fuck you want.
Right there, like you're fucking. You're done.
You buttoning a shirt? That's not
you're
how
done. You're done.
Anyway,
right here, you scroll like this. You go like that.
No, dummy.
You cross it like this.
Yeah, you didn't have it crossed just now.
It's hard to do it like this. I don't have flexible wrists.
Oh, but you're going to be the one who gets it done. $5 super chat. Thank you, Alan. We have a $2 super chat from Lucky Tim. He said Roman Dolidze was in the Apex, and you know what that means.
We knew he's in Vegas. He trains in Vegas.
This is all to figure out who is the father of Cheyenne. We know who the father is.
It's who she's currently banging is what we were curious.
Well, we don't know he's the father just because his mom was in a picture.
His mom was at the gender reveal. Why the fuck would she be at the gender reveal?
Well, why wasn't he?
Because he trains in Vegas. He lives in Vegas. He's training, man. He works hard.
So why is she still living on another continent?
Well, that's where he does live, but he's training. He's ready for a fight.
What a mess.
Okay. She just came to Vegas. I mean, it's called sacrifices.
Thank you for the $2 super chat. Let's move on. Next up at UFC 292, we have Andrea Lee taking on Natalia Silva. Andrea Lee, 13-7 overall, 2-3 in her last 5. She is riding a pair of losses. She's taking on Natalia Silva, 15-5 overall, 5-0 in her last 5. She is riding a 9-fight win streak. Andrea Lee, overall, a pretty dynamic striker. She does the basics really, really well. She's incredibly tough. She's got improved grappling. She's averaging more than 2 takedowns per fight, and she just took down Macy Barber 5 times in that very, very close loss. Her takedown defense could actually use some work. It's only at 54%, but her striking is clean, and she could beat a lot of these women in just a pure striking match. I mentioned the 5 takedowns against Macy Barber. She still lost that decision. That was a very, very close fight. I could see the argument the other way because she was losing the striking exchanges, so she had to go to the takedowns. But obviously, 5 takedowns is a lot of takedowns for judges to just ignore entirely. She's taking on Natalia Silva. She's well-rounded. But is this why you guys think I have a list? Because every now and then I'll just mess up a letter.
Todo bem?
She's well-rounded. Talk about Natalia Silva here. She's fun to watch. Shut up.
Pode repetir, por favor?
Nobody.
Pode repetir, por favor?
Okay.
Obrigado.
Cool. You did. Oh, cool. You did Babbel on your phone for an hour and a half. Natalia Silva, super fun to watch. And on her feet, you might think it's like a brawling style because she will sort of slug it out, but She actually is a technical striker. She'll come forward. She does a really good job of turning things into a brawl before she's going to do what she wants to do. Pick you apart, work you down, get some upper body takedowns, and then have some really good control on top. She's very powerful for this division. She's coming off 2 big-time knockouts in a row. Most impressively is the fact that one of them was in the 3rd round. So she carries her power late. She doesn't fade. She's still got the power. She'll still throw hands, even in the 3rd round after sort of what could have been an all-out war. This should be Natalia Silva all day. I trust her to get it done. I think, frankly, Natalia Silva is going to... You laughing at the comments or me?
The comments. Shit. You must have said at some point that she's well-rounded, and somebody said very well-rounded.
Oh, I see it. Natalia Silva, I think she absolutely gets this done. These odds make complete sense to me. My one caution here will be Andrea Lee is actually pretty good. She's better than her 2 recent losses, especially the Macy fight was a complete robbery. And, frankly, Andrea Lee does have a path in most fights because she's got good striking and can work in takedowns. I just don't think that's going to work for her here because if Jasmine Jazadavicius isn't taking down Natalia Silva, I don't see Andrea Lee doing it. So Natalia Silva's the win. I think Natalia Silva is parlayable. I know a lot of people are like, oh, women's MMA. But, Natalia Silva's sort of proven over her last couple of fights she can finish. She can go to decisions. She can beat a grappler. She can beat a striker. So Natalia Silva, pretty confident pick for me. The one, I'll tell you what bet I'm looking at after you.
No, go ahead.
No.
Once I get going, Angelo, I don't know if I'm going to be able to stop.
I'm sure you will finish quite quickly. So go ahead.
It's never happened in the past. So
I bet.
Let me just say that everyone needs to fucking pump the brakes when it comes to Natalia Silva because and Angelo will attest to this, was the absolute original Natalia Silva stan. The absolute original. They even were on the broadcast. Dominic Cruz on the broadcast when she fought Jasmine. It was like, we not much tape out there, so it was hard to know what to expect from Natalia. I sat here and told everyone that she was going to smoke Jasmine. By the way, we love Jasmine. We love Jasmine. But I told you that she was going to smoke Jasmine because I did the research. I was on the Instagram, saw how fast she was. I get in those dark, deep crevices. I don't care how deep they are. I go down those for you guys. And I told you guys that she was going to smoke Jasmine. And now everyone's all about Natalia. So, she's so beautiful. I was already all over a long time ago. Get in fucking line, everyone. She is going to beat Andrea Lee because Andrea Lee is I would say almost a linear version of Jasmine. She's a little bit, obviously she's a worse wrestler, but she can wrestle. And she's a little bit better striker, but not like a dominant striker. She's not throwing combinations. She's throwing ones, twos, extending on her shots. She's got decent power, but Natalia is so good with her footwork, with her movement, her speed. And what I love the most is, even if Andrea Lee, for whatever reason, is able to get a takedown, maybe there's a trip, maybe there's a weird situation, Natalia Silva is the definition of what you want to see when somebody's ass hits the fucking canvas. She is scramble, get back to her feet as fast as she can. Not that she's clueless on the ground, because she does get back to her feet, but she knows how much of an advantage she has on her feet. So even if she gets taken down, I'm not worried about it. She'll get back to her feet. It's not like Andrea Lee is this dominant wrestler, dominant grappler, and Andrea Lee can get taken down too. So if for some reason Natalia gets in trouble, she can shoot a takedown, which is almost like a safety net for her to get on top and kind of get her wits about her. But I think this is going to be an easy play for Natalia Silva. She is just absolutely fucking beautiful, and just your little, because you know what's coming.
As soon as I heard your tone change, I'm like, here we go.
But it's a Natalia Silva play all the
just
way,
trying to get your thoughts in line.
Yeah, and I have bets on her too. I don't have money line, but I have other bets for better value, I think. So check out Premium
when it's up. This is the bet that I was. This is the bet that I was. No, like the website up. This is the bet that I was. This is. Why do you just randomly make things like sex noises?
I said, "Oh," that's all I said.
Because you. you have.
By the way, I know what that guy said in Portuguese. I'm pretty sure. I think he said "Gringo, você não sabe falar português." I think it means "Gringo, you don't speak good Portuguese, or you don't speak Portuguese."
Is it a comment? I don't see it.
It's up there.
Well, the bet that I was teasing, or that I'm be waiting for, frankly, is the Andrea Lee takedown lines. Because the reality is, the stats make it look like Andrea Lee is a very good wrestler, especially in her last fight. And we might get a blown-out takedown line when the reality is, I don't think she's going to. If we get a 1.5 or 2.5 takedown line on Andrea Lee, whether it's with Bet Online or Underdog Fantasy or any, actually those are the only two places that might do it. PrizePicks already did not do it. If we get lucky with a line like that, I'm going to hammer.
On what? The half?
If it's 1.5 or 2.5, I will hammer the under. She's not going to get 2 takedowns.
Jesus. Yeah, when you said 1.5 or 2.5, I thought you were going to say, I'm a whoa.
No. I'm thinking we might get lucky because she just took down Macy Barber 5 times, and whoever sets the line
Macy Barber
might be
absolutely sucks.
Okay. we might get somebody who sets that line being like, oh, wow, she took her down 5 times, the previous person 2 times. Wow, Andrea Lee's a good wrestler. We just got the, didn't we just get?
Minus 237. Fuck. That is
what?
Wild. Someone said, I'm not hammering that minus 237 Andrea Lee line.
All right, everybody relax.
Every week it's like that. Remember how big a deal? I would have one typo when I did the graphics every like 4 or 5 weeks, and Andrew would be like, this lazy motherfucker has no, it's all he does.
Dude, it was way more than just, first of all, these graphics are far more complicated. These take several days. Second of all, I'm making 3 graphics for every single, first of all, these are, everybody watching. You watch probably more than just us. Fine, good for you. Everybody else, except Fight Night Picks, they put in the time. Everybody else is a lazy bum using Tapology in the background. One other person doesn't use Tapology, and I swear to God, it looks like Microsoft Paint made the. He should use Tapology. That would be an upgrade. Okay, we're over here building custom graphics. You see how many fields I have to put on here? Here's 2 graphics. The first one, you're going to get DraftKings pricing, the opening line, the current line, the country they're from, their last 5, and their record. Boom, on one screen. Then we pivot to the next screen. You're going to get height, reach, stance, age, strikes landed, striking accuracy, strikes absorbed, defense, takedown accuracy. The information that we give you on these graphics is absolutely incredible. And you know what? Every now and then, there might be a little typo because I make these 2 graphics in the thumbnail for every single fight. Okay? Appreciate the graphics, Jacob, because you're not doing shit. I'm doing them.
And I just want to say, too, everyone else in this space, I respect everyone. I understand everything is a grind, and everyone's just doing the best they can with what they got. So,
tell me about it.
I think there's enough room in this.
There's no excuse
for everyone. So
there's definitely enough room for everybody. Oh no,
I just
Listen,
everyone fucking hates Angelo. You don't have to hate me because you hate Angelo, guys. I want to be in the circle. I want to be in the inner circle. Let me in. We can all make fun of Angelo together. I don't give a fuck. Let me in that thing.
No, it is crazy because, listen, and obviously I'm going in. First of all, I wholeheartedly believe this is YouTube. This isn't cable. There is plenty of room for everybody and then more. That's just how YouTube works, right? It's not, this is it. The show's airing at this time and you watch one or the other and there's no reruns. So there's room for everybody, but there are people who do this as a full-time job. This is their job. They have no other source of income than this. And that's the trash product they put out. I will never understand. This is not my full-time job. And this is the quality we're putting out. There's no excuse. There is no excuse to put out trash. The only person I'll let have an excuse is that little dweeb 12-year-old Bert. He's the only one. The kid's he's like 13 years old. He takes the bus to school. God. We should be applauding him for his parents letting him have internet with his door closed, right? Because that in and of itself a 13-year-old should not be allowed to have. But we should be applauding him because he's going out of his, he's a kid. He's a straight up kid and good for him. Everybody else, no excuse. And that includes Artem. Actually, at least Artem has a nice overlay and I'm just busting on his balls. Everybody else, absolutely insane.
Bert's
guys, let's get back on track. Back on track.
Me and Bert were messaging about you. We do that often.
I know you do. I know. It's bizarre. You're messaging with an underage child, you fucking nerd. Why would you do that?
Oh, my God. It's a sting operation. It's a fucking sting. Oh, my God. Get out of here, Bert. I'm blocking him right now.
I mean, that's what you're doing. You're messaging with an underage boy.
He sent me a message right now. Send a pic.
All right. Anyway. $6,800 in DraftKings. I just don't see Andrea Lee covering that at all. Now, Natalia Silva at $9,400 may also not be worth it because Andrea Lee's not really somebody you're going to go out there and finish. Natalia Silva, I don't know if she's going to cover that score unless she's just getting takedown after takedown after takedown. How to catch a salamander.
That's pretty funny.
What do you think of the DraftKings score?
Oh, give me Natalia for any amount of money. I don't give a fuck. I'll find a way to get it. You name the fucking price, and within 3 hours, I'll find that sum of money. I don't give a fuck what it is.
Yeah, look who's trying to cover up who he's actually DMing. What an absolute
Joey T donated. We got $9.99 from Joey T. How's it going, everyone? If you are a premium member, what are you waiting on? Join today. I promise you that you won't regret joining. Also, Angelo, thank you for the rib recipe the other day. The extra mayo really set it off.
I was like, what? I was like, wait, it says that?
Yeah, that was pretty good. I didn't know what I was going to go with. I was just trying to make it sound like a real fat fucking food. The extra mayo really set it off on the rib.
It's so funny. We went to I'm quite popular in the neighborhood. We went to a barbecue on Sunday, and actually it wasn't a barbecue. It was a pool party, and everybody just brought a side. I love, and this is very fat of me, mayonnaise-based sides and salads, but I hate mayonnaise. Like macaroni salad, love it. Potato salad, love it. All that shit I love.
I think I'm the
exact opposite. But actual mayonnaise, I can't. I hate mayonnaise.
I'm the exact opposite.
You love mayonnaise and hate the mayonnaise-based
salads?
I
had a friend in high school who literally would eat big. He would get a jar of mayo and spoonfuls of it. Loved it.
Dude, I like Burger King. Burger King puts mayonnaise on the burgers. I'm fine with
mayonnaise on burgers.
I'm actually fine with it, but if I take a bite and then I see the mayonnaise, I'm like, oh God, and I wipe it off the napkin. But if you give me a heaping pile, what we had, if you give me a heaping pile of like pasta salad, and it goes. $2 super chat from Quint. Sean O'Malley at plus 300 would be nice.
Happy birthday, Quint, man. Fuck.
Thanks for the super chat, Quinty baby. Let's move on.
Are we in the main event yet?
We're almost there. My neighbor just texted me about sidecar social.
More neighbor talk. Jesus Christ.
About sidecar I should just say my buddy.
Angelo has neighbors.
So do you, except yours are upstairs and downstairs, left and right. Mine are actually in a different building.
Hey. There's nobody above me.
That is true. You are on the top floor of a third floor.
Most places they're called the penthouse. I do have a penthouse sign on my front door. So.
Okay, turn around so your microphone doesn't do that weird auto adjust crap again. Okay, let's move on. Next up at UFC 292, we have Andre Petroski taking on Gerald Meerschaert. This is actually an interesting fight. Andre Petroski 9-1 overall, 4-1 in his last 5. He's coming off that decision win over Wellington Turman. It was 9 months ago. I don't think that's very long, but somebody in the Discord was like, you forgot to mention it was 9 months ago. So if you think that's a long time, then I'm pointing out.
That's a pretty normal course for fights, I would say.
That's why I was like, because he said you forgot 1 point. I forget how he worded it. And I was like, if you fight twice a year.
Someone just said site's up, but then someone says the website's down.
It's not up. The website is down. I've been checking it every 5 seconds. Listen, GoDaddy's working on the server. It is 100% beyond our control. It'll be back up. It'll be fine. Anyway, Andre Petroski, 4-1 in his last 5. He beat Wellington Turman about 9 months ago. He's taking on Gerald Meerschaert, 35-16, 3-2 in his last 5. He's coming off that bad knockout loss to Joe Pifes. Pfeiffer's a sweet last name. Anyway.
Pfeiffer.
This is... What?
Pfeffer.
It's not Puh, it's Pho. That's a stupid last name then.
No, it's probably,
Okay.
sometimes I just say stuff.
We know. Andre Petroski. This guy's a very, very good wrestler. Great takedowns. His stand-up is just okay, but it's loaded with power. He will wing big-time power shots, and then he has his wrestling as a backup. Cardio isn't amazing. It will slow down, but he's big. He's strong. He can knock you out. He can wrestle F you. He can do all of those things, and he's got pretty good jiu-jitsu as well, so should be able to survive, if not win by submission. He's coming off that win over Wellington Turman, where he wanted to strike. He was throwing big power. I think he assumed Wellington was chinny, thought he was going to connect to the chin. But what ended up happening is Wellington was lighting up Andre Petroski's body, and then Andre was like, I'm done with this. Time to wrestle. And then he was very dominant once he started doing what he was supposed to be doing that whole time. He's taking on Gerald Meerschaert. Somebody said Gerald Meerschaert is the American Bear Jew, right? The American Craig, what the hell's his last name? Paul Craig.
That's what the fuck? Who said? I want a fucking name. Whoever said that. That's super.
In the comment
that's
section
fucking super disrespectful.
In the comment section of my Quick Picks video. Anyway, the reason they say that, I can kind of see the connections, is Gerald Meerschaert is a phenomenal grappler. He could submit you at any moment in the fight. He has many fights where he was getting the piss beat out of him, and then he stayed tough, found a submission, and got it done. Very similar to Paul Craig. Gerald Meerschaert actually has some decent striking. He pieced up Bruno Silva, which was like a shocking win there, because the knock on Gerald was he's chinny. Oh, he's chinny. And then he finished the hardest puncher, one of the hardest punchers in the division. He just got off that knockout loss to Joe Pyfer, where it's like, okay, maybe Gerald can be a bit hittable, but Joe does hit like a freight train. The problem with Gerald's biggest issue is he can't really, his takedowns are not very good. So while he does have this amazing jiu-jitsu skill set, he can't really get it to the ground when he wants to use it. You have to take him down in order for him to be able to do that. And that's what makes this matchup interesting, because Andre Petroski will shoot takedowns. This fight will end up on the ground. This is what I think is going to happen. Andre Petroski, as he did in his last fight, is going to come out big, heavy punches, trying to find the chin. Gerald was just knocked out. Andre's going to be hunting for that knockout. Then he'll probably go to his wrestling, get some takedowns, grind out a win, maybe a TKO on top. But Gerald's very, very tough. Andre Petroski's the pick. I think Andre Petroski wins. I do have him in a little parlay with Natalia Silva, but I left him out of the safety parlay. The safety parlay that I brag about, 30% ROI, all of those things, premium members, blah, blah, blah. I left him out of it. I was going to put him in it, but I left him out of it because just look at their records. Gerald Meerschaert has almost 4 times the amount of wins that Andre Petroski has fights. And he's the exact type of guy that could pull off an upset over a young kid that came out swinging wild. So I think Andre wins. I'm very confident in Andre, but obviously the Hail Mary is possible here. What do you think?
He's 32. He's not a young kid. But I will say this. And Andre, if you're watching, I need you to listen very, very carefully, because I told Joe Pyfer the exact same thing, and it worked beautifully for him. Excuse me. What I was saying is basically this.
And that was right after
excuse me, sir.
Somebody commented this, and then you can't say beautifully. But go ahead.
I don't even know what that is. Yeah. But as we were watching the stream and leading up to the fights and everything, I said, listen, Joe, this fight is very simple for you. You don't need to wrestle. You don't really need to do much of anything except for pressure, and just fucking throw a right hand right down the center line, and you will knock this guy out. You don't loop it. You don't even need to set it up. You just fire a right hand right down the pipe, and you will knock this guy out. It took Joe, I think, a minute or two to figure that out, but he landed one, and then he was like, oh shit, the freckled salamander was right. Threw another one and just sat this guy down. Andre, I'm telling you right now, I know that you want to grapple. You want to prove a point. You're calling out Bo Nickel. You called out Gerald. This could be a be careful what you wish for situations, because if you start grappling with this guy, he's probably going to survive. Andre, you are going to get tired. Gerald, when people get tired, that is when he captures capitalize. That is when he gets people's back. That is when he gets these weird submissions. You don't need the grapple, man. You don't need the grapple. You don't need to throw these big overhand rights either. Just nice and tight. A right hand, cock it back, down the pipe. You're going to knock this guy out. If he starts grappling early, I'm going to be a little bit nervous because if he's trying to just submit Gerald, it's probably not going to work. He's probably going to get gas, and this could turn into an interesting fight. I placed a bet for this fight for Andre, and I sat there and stared at it before I made it a premium bet because I'm like, can I fucking trust this guy? It's like Lily, because I feel the same way. If you're Andre, you should dominate this fight. You should dominate this fight. You should dominate this fight. But I did put it in premium. I do trust him. I'm not even going to hedge it at all. I mean, he should, right, Angelo? I mean, he should win this fight.
Andre? Yeah, I just said
that. Yeah, I mean, he should win this fight. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, it's like, fuck, man.
The only thing that worries me is, dude, he's got 10 professional fights to 35, 45, 51. 10 to 51. Like, that's a giant experience gap. That's the only thing that does concern me. But I do agree. I have the parlay with Andre in it. It's just not the safety parlay. I take that. Nobody realizes how serious I take that safety parlay. And,
nobody realizes how serious I take my Lock of the Week. By the way, Lock of the Week video is up right now. I would encourage you to go watch it. It's my favorite one I've ever made. And it's already the 4th most liked video on our channel of all time within 24 hours. Oh, really?
It's because it's absolutely awesome. Jacob's Lock of the... Don't leave this live stream to go watch it. But Jacob's Lock of the Week
leave,
video,
please, and come back. You'll be fine.
Jacob's Lock of the Week video this week is... it's different because it's very hype. You're like, oh, shit.
It's a cinematic fucking masterpiece, and I will win awards for it.
Yeah, potentially. I wish your Lock of the Week would see the video because it is 100% something that like that person could potentially pay for. Like, you know what I mean? Like it is that good of a video. It's something the UFC would make. And I'm not, I hate giving you compliments, you short bastard. Anyway, $8,800 in DraftKings should absolutely be worth it. He should absolutely be worth it. I mean, he's one of the more safe plays on this card. And all this didn't put him in the Lock of the Week bullshit. It's 100% true. He was not in the safety, or didn't put him in the safety parlay. It's 100% true, but I probably should. Frankly.
This could be one of those situations where when you see everyone else and you see Natalia at -350, you see Ian Gary's over -500 right now, and you see all these big favorites. You see Gregory Rodrigues, all these big favorites. We could be looking back on Sunday, seeing this -250 on Andre and being like, fuck, man, I should have put 3 units on that. I mean, it should look easy. He should make this shit look easy, but we'll see how it plays out. I got my money on him.
Yeah, I agree. He's definitely going to be worth it in DraftKings for $8,800. So I'll do that. Gerald Meerschaert, $7,400, maybe in a large field tournament. Maybe, because he's always can pull something off. But the reality is a little bit lower than that. Couple of super chats. We got Alan. We have Alan. I'm a premium member. I appreciate all your hard work. But Jacob, I don't see how O'Malley beats Aljo. He's a better grappler. That's a little bit of spoiler alert. Jacob will address this comment when we break down that fight. But thank you very much, Alan. Genuinely appreciate it. Dr. Y. MMA Guru had the exact same picks as Jacob. You spent $2 to shout out that. Thank you very much, Dr. Y. Dr. Y actually, I'm just messing with him.
Yeah,
Dr. Y actually.
I'm saying you're about to say something bad about Guru. MMA Guru, if you're watching this,
what would I say appreciate that? The guy's
for shouting out that, and then you were gonna.
Oh, I was gonna do some fake angry like our competitor, but first of all, he's not a competitor. He's basically a live streamer and he's killing it right now. Anyway, Dr. Y is great because Dr. Y is I show all the winning tickets all the time. Dr. Y emails me faithfully during the event. This just happened. That just happened. Look at this ticket. I just did this. I just did that.
He donated about fucking 15 times on Saturday's live stream for me.
Guy's great.
I appreciate that.
Guy's absolutely great. He emailed me during that live stream. Jacob and Guru have the same picks. So thank you very much, Mr. Y.
Smart man.
Did you address the DraftKings before I move a loots?
That could be another situation. $8,800. I mean, he should finish this guy in the first round. Fuck, man.
Done.
Yeah, FB Montage just made a good point. He doesn't even do graphics, Angelo. How do you feel about that? Guy doesn't give a fuck, does he?
He's a live streamer. It's very different.
He doesn't give a fuck, does he, Angelo?
That guy goes live.
Start trashing him, Angelo.
I'm not going to trash somebody 10 times larger. Not 10 times.
Get him.
5 times larger than us that is doing something completely different.
Do it.
The only overlap.
Well, first of all, before you start going off a tangent, MMA Guru, I don't support anything he's about to say. Get him, Angelo. Get him.
There's nothing to get. The guy is crushing it in what he does. The only overlap that we have, actually, you and him overlap. You also are live. You're directly competing. Nothing else is directly competing. That guy's a live streamer. And
has he ever ripped off his shirt before?
He might. He ripped off his hat, and fuck, that hair's nice.
Yeah, that's a nice head of lettuce.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, become a premium member. It's $10 a month. He doesn't have one, so sign up for ours. Next up.
Someone said, geez, you can tell Angelo really hates him.
Next up. At UFC 292, we have Gregory Rodrigues taking on, I did a Spanish. He's not Spanish. He's Brazilian. Gregory Rodrigues taking on Denis Tiuliulin. Gregory Rodrigues is 13-5 overall, 3-2 in his last 5 years, coming off that knockout loss to Diego Ferreira. He's taking on Denis Tiuliulin. Denis Tiuliulin, 11-7 overall, 2-3 in his last 5. He's coming off that submission loss to Jun Young Park. And this fight is much closer than I think these odds are. I had a little bit of a debate with web guy Josh this morning in between phone calls with GoDaddy about this fight because I do think Gregory Rodrigues wins, right? He's a very well-rounded guy. He's got good, clean striking. He's got power. He's got a BJJ black belt, but he doesn't really use his takedowns that often. At least in my mind, Gregory Rodrigues is not wrestling as often as he should be. There's fights where he clearly should be wrestling, and he doesn't. He will first stand in front of you and slug it out and then go to the wrestling. And unfortunately for him in his last fight, he didn't get the opportunity to do and then. He didn't get past the slug out phase. He did look good, actually. He was landing the cleaner shots till ultimately, boom, done. Unconscious on the cage. And that was, 3 months ago? That wasn't even that long ago. He's taking on Denis Tiuliulin. This guy's a really fun come-forward striker. I think Denis is the better striker out of the two of them. Actually, I think he literally is the better striker out of the two of them. But he's not the better MMA fighter, right? He has no problem getting into a slugfest. He loves to make fights dirty, ugly, really fast-paced. And he loves to break you or catch you in those exchanges. He's got very legit power. But he does have grappling holds. He's got some decent takedown defense. But once he's on the ground, he's got nothing to offer. Complete fish out of the water. So Gregory Rodrigues should win this fight. He also has some power in his hands. But then on top of that, he's got a BJJ black belt. He's got some takedowns. Gregory Rodrigues, 100%. I get why he's the favorite. He should win this fight. But if he's going to go out there and fight this fight the same way he fought his last fight with Diego Ferreira, he could absolutely get slept the exact same way. Denis Tiuliulin has that power. So Gregory Rodrigues is the pick. I have no money on Gregory Rodrigues whatsoever. Maybe I'll hit a prop if the odds are crazy. I'll have to look a little closer. But the reality is this guy could get slept just like he was because he's too willing to slug it out. What do you think, Jakey boy?
Yeah, Gregory is how do I say this?
Say it in Portuguese.
Knocked the fuck out is what's going to happen with Gregory in this fight. Because as you mentioned, the guy's a very high-level grappler, but does not wrestle, does not grapple unless it happens organically. If somebody shoots on him, he will work to get the back. Then he starts wrestling and grappling. Even when he gets hurt, it's not like he even defaults to wrestling. When he gets hurt, and we've seen him getting flatlined in his last fight. That's not the first time that's happened. That's not the first time. We've seen him on skates. We've seen him knocked out before. So it's not even like oh, wow, maybe that won't happen again. Maybe that was a fluke. It's happened before, and now it seems to be happening a little bit more often. And When he gets hurt, he doesn't default to wrestling. He doesn't try to stay safe. He bites down and he gets even more wild. He is going to get in the pocket with this dude, Denis. And by the way, let me just preference this. I should have probably preferenced this a little bit ahead of time. But Denis has a special place in my heart. My lock of the week, when it won 10 in a row, Denis Tiuliulin was number 10 against Jamie Pickett. It's hard to believe that Jamie Pickett was a favorite in a fight, but he was a favorite against Denis Tiuliulin. We were at Bill Burr, had no idea what the fight, but I was so confident in Denis Tiuliulin. I came out, we unlocked our phones, and I was like, Angelo, baby.
Your phone was in the
I said 10 in a row.
case.
We fucking did it, Angelo. And that really springboarded us to all the success. We can really attribute every single second of success on this channel to Denis Tiuliulin. So I am a little bit biased, but I think that this turns into just an absolute brawl, a 50-50 fight in the pocket, and I know that Denis can take shots a little bit better at this point than Gregory. And his losses, by the way, Denis Tiuliulin's losses, the last one was to the Iron Turtle. We now realize the Iron Turtle is like kind of a prospect. I mean, he is kind of steamrolling through the division, and he was fully mounted for like 4 straight minutes and did not give up at all. This guy is tough as shit. The other 2 losses before that were basically to undefeated Russians, one of them being Ikram. So it's not like he's like losing these fights and just kind of struggling. He's fighting really good people, and I think he gets in there, turns this into a brawl, and finds the chin of Gregory. I will say this. Something about this fight feels like it could be one of those, I can't believe it went to a decision. Because we've seen Gregory also be very, very durable, right? And I could see both these guys kind of hurting each other and going all for it in the first round, and then it turns into just this sloppy slugfest where they don't really have the power anymore. They can't finish each other. So, I think fight does not go the distance, like minus 500 or something. People might see that and think it's easy money.
It is minus 500.
Yeah, people might see that and think like, oh, that'll be free money, whatever. Something weird might happen in this fight, but I'm going Denis here with the upset. I think these boys get after it, and I can't trust Gregory's chin in a slugfest.
Yeah, I agree. I still think he wins. He's the better, more well-rounded fighter in an MMA fight. Like I will pretty much always pick that person unless the non-well-rounded one is a very dominant wrestler, because then they can just whatever. That's what they'll do. But in this case, Denis Tiuliulin's a striker. If he's taken down, he's got nothing to offer. Can we admit the gap on the ground is like ridiculously wide?
I mean, he's been fighting some really high-level grapplers, really high-level wrestlers as well.
I understand, but Gregory Rodrigues is also a high-level grappler.
You definitely could tell, and they were actually, I can't remember who was on the call, but during that turtle fight, they were like, one of the first things you learn is how to get out of mount. They were like, one of the first things you learn is you get in a mount position, you learn how to get out of the mount position, because it was like he was just flailing around. They were like, I think it had to have been Dominic Cruz or somebody. They were like, this guy doesn't know what the fuck he's doing.
Well, and that is the problem. That's why Gregory Rodrigues is the favorite that he is. But, Jacob and I have the same, because Jacob's far more confident than I am. I think Gregory wins. But
let me just say this too.
I haven't spent any money on him.
I don't have a bet on. Actually, I do have a little bit of bet on Denis, but I'm not like, load up on a money line for sure. I understand how good Gregory is. He should win this fight. I just think that there is the odds. I do have some action on Denis.
He will always spend the first couple of minutes being like, let's see what I can do on my feet.
He said he loves striking. He came into these camps as like the grappler. He got beat up. He learned how to strike, and he loves striking. You can see the way he fights. He loves it.
Yeah. $9,500 in DraftKings. The problem is, if he wins, not a problem, it'll be worth that. If he wins, he'll win by finish. I mean, I agree with the minus 500 does not go the distance odds. I don't think this should go the distance, because Gregory's going to get flatlined, or Denis will get TKO'd on the ground or submitted. That's how I think it goes. So $9,500 in DraftKings. That's a lot to spend. I'll look a little closer. We'll see what happens in that DraftKings video. And if you want full DraftKings insight breakdown of the fighter salaries and who you should pick and the tools and the cheat sheet and all that, weonpicks.com. Click become a member. It's $10 a month. And then go to fantasy, and then you'll see DraftKings Plays. And it'll all be right there for you. $6,700 for Tiuliulin. He definitely needs to be in one or two of your tournament lineups for sure, because if he wins, he's going to crush. Listen, it's not tournament. It's not TURN-ament. It's not tournament.
It's tournament.
And why? What's the example I always use?
Oh, when you go on a, do you go on a tour? Do you go on a tour?
When you go on a tour, you get a tour guide, not a tour guide. Tournament.
I just get a girl that I'm about to bang later.
I've never seen an attractive tour guide.
You don't go on the right tours.
What tours you going on?
I
took her on a tour of the Star, and she was about 300
I was
pounds.
about to say something. I'm going to text it to you just so you can laugh about it. Hold on. This will be quick.
That's the theme. I have notifications turned off, so let's see it.
All right, let's move on.
All right. Well, that was gross, and I'm very glad you didn't say it. Gross, like from a human perspective. Yeah, let's move on. Next up, at UFC 292, we have the featured prelim of the evening. We have the return. Let me back up. We have a super chat. $1.99 super chat from Bean Boy. He says his UFC 292 parlay is Hubbard, Karine, and Blackshear. That's a wild parlay. That payout is probably insane because Blackshear's an underdog.
Oof.
We'll talk about the Blackshear fight after this, but that's a wild parlay. Thank you for the $2 super chat. Next up at UFC 292, we have Chris Weidman coming back after 2 years away in a leg that was snapped clean in half to take on Brad Tavares. Brad Tavares, 19-8 overall, 2-3 in his last 5. He's coming off that knockout loss to Bruno Silva. He's taking on Chris Weidman, 15-6 overall, 2-3 in his last 5. As I mentioned, coming back after 2 years away in a pretty graphic injury. This is actually a very good fight. I understand the gap in the line here, but let me remind you who Chris Weidman is. A lot of you who showed up during COVID, I guess you saw his leg snap in half. And as you all know, the UFC took off during COVID.
And he would have smoked. He would have dominated that fight too. That is kind of a shame because he would have. I mean, he probably would have dominated that fight.
Well, Chris Weidman, the former middleweight champion of the world, he's a Division I wrestler. He's got good technical striking and very good BJJ. He's basically the original champion out of the Serra Longo camp. Obviously, Matt Serra was the champion, but outside of him, Chris Weidman was the original champion that sort of set that gym up.
He's
for like,
beautiful,
hey,
man. I don't think this picture does it.
It doesn't because this is like
he's got a nice like fade now with the beard and beautiful man, funny guy.
He's charming as hell.
My God, I miss him on the. I'm actually pissed that he took this fight because he's training now and he's no longer on the pay-per-view weigh-in shows and stuff because he was fucking awesome on those shows. Worked so well with DC and stuff. He's just a good guy.
He's just a cool dude. He just drips cool. It's the reason I get invited to so many barbecues. I have a lot of Chris Weidman in me. Just
it looks like you got about 3 of them in you.
All right. That was incredibly rude. Chris Weidman, again, former middleweight champion, Division I wrestler, good hands, good BJJ. Problem is his chin started to give him some issues. But there was a point in time where when Chris Weidman was champion, people were like, this is the next guy. He beat Anderson Silva twice. He's the one who beat Anderson and took his belt. He beat him twice, and it's like, uh-oh. Chris Weidman's going to be the real deal. Then his chin started to give out and stuff like that, but still very well-rounded, all of those things. He's taking on Brad Tavares. Brad Tavares, like Chris Weidman, is sort of a tried-and-true entity, and it's shocking that these two have not fought each other yet because Brad Tavares has fought basically every current and former champion at middleweight over the length of his career, 10 years or something like that, just in the UFC. He's 14-8 in the UFC. That's how many fights he's had just in this organization, just at this level. He's a very good striker. He's got good takedown defense at 80%. He's got that Hawaiian toughness, that Hawaiian fighting spirit. And up until his last fight, he had a granite chin. The Bruno Silva knockout surprised a lot of people. I get why Brad Tavares is the favorite. I get it. Because he's been more active. His leg wasn't in 2 separate pieces. And I get all of those things. Chris Weidman is the better fighter here. He's the Division I wrestler. They probably have the same striking. And Chris Weidman's going to have better jiu-jitsu. But Brad Tavares is going to come forward. He's going to be busier. He's going to be tougher. His timing's going to be on point. His takedown's going to be on point. I think Brad Tavares does win this fight. I'm not betting on this fight at all because this is a very winnable fight for Chris Weidman. I feel like that's why they gave it to him. Like, hey, here's a guy who is tough, is well-rounded, but isn't a one-punch knockout guy. Like, he's not very dangerous. He's just good. So Chris Weidman could win this fight. I'll be rooting for him to win this fight. I might even throw a couple of bucks on him and not put it on premium just for myself so I can enjoy if he does win this fight. Because while Brad Tavares is probably going to be a step ahead, he's younger, all those things, busier, more active, he's not very dangerous. So it should be an interesting fight. What do you think, Jakey Boy?
I mean, anytime I do a breakdown like this, I always give my disclaimers. Would you like to give your disclaimer?
What's my disclaimer?
You don't even know what I mean. You are like the most Northeast. Everyone from the Northeast is the most dominant. This guy. You were just talking about how charming and handsome and how you relate to him. If you don't see it, I mean,
I don't see it.
All right. Well, Angelo is biased, and that's why he thinks Chris Weidman has a shot inside this fight. I will say this.
I was just saying, you and I talked the other day.
Excuse me.
Yeah. Okay.
I will say this. I agree that this is probably one of the better matchups that Chris Weidman could get in the middleweight division. This is probably a winnable fight for him if he wasn't coming off a to your left. If he was coming off that Amari fight or he was coming off a Uriah Hall fight, even if he lost that fight, I think it's a very winnable fight. But the guy had to learn how to re-walk. The guy, I mean, he was out for 2 years, and most of that time, it wasn't like he was getting better in the 2 years training, working hard, looking for another. He had to relearn how to fucking walk, and that sucks. I mean, that sucks, but that's the reality of the situation, that most of this time off has been just getting his body back. And not only that, now he's got all these mental hurdles to try to overcome inside the octagon. And if you go back, and I know it was at 205, but that Amari fight, I mean, he was wrestling the first round. He was looking like the Chris Weidman. It's like, oh my God, he was getting knocked out, but Weidman's back. 205's his new division. That dude got fucking tired. It's not even like the fight that he won before he broke his leg. He had to win, but it wasn't like it was like, oh my God, Weidman's back. He was dominating. He was getting tired. He was getting taken down. And against a guy like Brad Tavares, who I agree is not like a super dangerous guy, but is a durable guy, I just don't see it adding up. I see where Weidman could have success in the first round. Get the takedown. He's all in. All the adrenaline's rushing. He goes all in for this takedown. He gets it. He gets the control. But then I just see the adrenaline dump. I see the age. I see the time off. I see him starting to fade, and Brad Tavares is a durable guy that kind of flipped that switch. So I actually kind of loaded up on Brad Tavares. It's one of my heavier bets this week. But I'll be honest with you. I agree, Angelo, and I definitely fucking hedged that bet because I agree. So weird things happen. We just saw it, and there's a great line too. Not to run too long, but there's a great line that I saw on Twitter that's 100% right, and I can't remember who says it, but they're like, when it comes to MMA, very rarely do the aging veterans get storybook endings, right? It usually ends poorly. They fade, they start, and it's like, unless you're Robbie Lawler or Glover, but even Glover end up losing or whatever, it's like, usually when people are older, they do look old. And unfortunately, I think that's what's going to happen to Weidman. But I did put a little sprinkle as a hedge because Brad isn't like this crazy, finisher type dude. So it is what it is.
Yeah, I think they gave him a fight that he could win. And that's not an insult to Brad. I mean, Chris Weidman's the former middleweight champion of the world. So it's not like we're talking about, throwing a bomb at somebody. Like, he's the former middleweight champion of the world. Yes, he's a little older, but 2 years of this age, he wasn't competing. So it's not like he has all those miles. But I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to enjoy this fight. I hope he wins. I hope he gets
I hope
that
he does.
Robbie
Yeah, I
Lawler
mean,
moment.
I hope he comes through. And if he wins, gets a fucking submission.
And he'll win. He'll probably retire no matter what. I think this is more of a self journey. Like I need to get back in there and do this to prove to myself that I can. And he's going to retire no matter what happens. That's what I imagine will be the case. And I'm looking forward to it. Big fan.
Yeah, I think everyone, and that's no disrespect to Brad either. I think everyone's probably gonna be rooting for him. Northeast. I mean, it's in the Northeast. It's shames it's Boston. I know how they feel about those Bronx type dudes, but
it's close enough. He lives in Long Island, by the way, not Bronx.
Oh, Long Island.
That's not Long Island. $7,200 in DraftKings is far more appealing than $9,000. $9,000 for Brad Tavares, a guy who doesn't really get finishes, who doesn't really get takedowns. he's not going to cover that nut. I don't think Brad Tavares is worth $9,000 in DraftKings. If you're on the Weidman side or you need some money for an underdog, I think Chris Weidman makes a lot more sense at $7,200 than Brad Tavares does at $9,000 in your DraftKings fantasy lineup. What do you think about that?
Yeah, probably not going to play Brad.
Somebody even commented Brad Tavares' highest score in DraftKings is 81 points. Ow! If I spent $9,000 and I got 81 points out of it, I would be very annoyed. WeWantPicks.com. Click Become a Member. You'll unlock everything you could ever imagine, from the tools to the information to the insight, the breakdowns, the picks, the bets, all of that. WeWantPicks.com. Just click Become a Member at the top. Next up at UFC 292, we have Chito Vera taking on Pedro Munhoz. Marlon Vera, Chito Vera, as I will refer to him from here on out, is 22-8 overall, 4-1 in his last 5. He's coming off that loss to Corey Sandhagen. He's taking on Pedro Munhoz, 20-7 overall, 2-1 in his last 5. He's coming off that underdog win over Chris Gutierrez, where if you remember, Chris Gutierrez was like this big prospect, this big power puncher, all these things. Pedro Munhoz dropped him and ended up winning that fight. And Pedro Munhoz is a very good striker, right? He's a volume striker, nonstop pace, incredible leg kicks. He's got dangerous BJJ, but he almost never uses it. He's not going to shoot a takedown or anything like that. He does have a negative striking differential, so he is hit more than he hits his opponents, which is a little surprising because he always looks very, very busy, but I guess it just tells you how much he's getting hit. He's landing 5.3 significant strikes per minute, which is a high number. And the reality is that Pedro Munhoz, yes, is 2-1 in his last 5. The one is that no contest to Sean O'Malley where he won the first round, but then he got eye poked. The losses in that line are, I mean, he's losing to very, very good people. Chito Vera could frankly be, and this is, I'm not trying to be, would be like the worst person he's lost to in the last 5 years, if that makes sense.
Wow.
But Chito Vera is
Chito.
good. Chito Vera is good. He's a Muay Thai striker. He loves to have just ugly, dirty, gritty fights. He does a great job of using all of his tools. He's got a pretty versatile attack style. And while he doesn't really wrestle, he is dangerous in the grappling as well. He'll use a submission threat for sure. He does have a negative striking differential himself. He's so freaking hittable. But he has so much power, it doesn't matter how much he was hit, or he's completely outstruck in most of his fights. Frankie Edgar completely outstruck him, and then he beat him. Rob Font completely outstruck him. I mean, Rob Font murdered this dude stat-wise. But Marlon Vera hit so hard, ripped that dude's face up, he took that decision. And Dominic Cruz was, if that was a 3-round fight, Dominic Cruz wins that 30-27. So Chito Vera is just hits really hard, keeps coming forward, stays in your face, wears you down, hamburger meets you up, and then either takes a decision or ends up finishing you. And there's a couple of red flags for Chito here. I did this in my quick picks video as well. But red flag number 1, I don't think Chito Vera is that good. I think he's overrated. I think he's been overrated for a while. I've picked against him, and I've been wrong many times. Red flag number 2 is he has no sense of urgency whatsoever. None. If he's losing the striking exchanges, the first fight or the first round of the Dominic Cruz fight, losing all those striking exchanges, I'm just going to keep doing this exact same thing in the second round. And then in the third round, same thing with the Corey Sandhagen. He doesn't mix it up. He doesn't say, holy shit, I'm down. I need to do this instead. I need to chase this. I need to chase. None of that. None of that. And red flag number 3 is he's supposed to be this dominant striker. He has a negative striking differential. He is literally punched in the face more than he hits his opponents in the face. And all those red flags aside, I still think he wins this fight. I think Pedro Munhoz, keep in mind, this is short notice for Pedro. Not crazy, like 2 weeks. But I think Pedro is going to come in here. I think he is going to be busy. I think he is going to stay in Chito's face. But as we know, I'll show you the stats right here. Pedro Munhoz is hit almost 6 significant strikes per minute. And Chito Vera does pack a punch. He will get your face bloody. He will turn you into a mess. And I think the judges are going to love that. Chito lost to Corey Sandhagen. It says split decision. It was not. That was a very clear unanimous decision loss. But Corey is tough. He's got weird movements. He'll shoot takedowns. That's not Pedro. Pedro's going to be right in front of you just coming forward. And I think Marlon does what he wants and gets that win. So Chito is the pick. What do you think, Jakey boy? Oops.
Yeah, it was a don't fucking do that again. It was a good breakdown, and then the incorrect pick, because all your red flags, I completely agree. Let me just say, too, both these guys are absolutely tough as shit. I mean, Cheetos is tough as shit. He can take a beating. He can take a shot. Pedro, the exact same way. So this probably is going to be a decision fight. It's probably going to be a very, very close decision fight. And in decision fights, especially a 3-round decision fight, I don't know how anybody can trust Cheeto at this point, especially against a guy like Pedro who won't play the game. He won't play that let me stay in the power range game and wait for you to land the big shot. He played that game because Font is a boxer, and Font stayed in that boxing range, was having success in boxing, and then Cheeto would land that one shot. Pedro is in and out, and he's high IQ, and they have good game plans. You saw that versus Sean. When he was fighting Sean, he was like, listen, I'm not going to throw a fucking punch, because you know why? Sean is faster than me. He's probably a little bit more powerful than me, and he wants to counter me. So if I come with pressure, keep this in mind, by the way, for a few fights from now, if I come to pressure with reckless pressure, and I'm engaging in the striking, he is going to counter me, and he is going to knock me out. Remember what I'm saying here for a few fights from now. So, what was he doing? He was just staying the distance and just blasting leg kicks. I'm not going to let him counter. So he knows how to fight people who are dangerous. He knows how to bring the right pressure to just win rounds and win points. And he probably was going to beat Sugar. I mean, that's the way he was just probably. It was probably going to be boring, super, super boring. But he knows, and he's high IQ, and he knows how to play that game. Where, as you mentioned with Cheeto, he will just keep doing what he is doing. I said. And we both agreed that we thought Cheeto was overrated. But I said I'm going to attach myself to Cheeto because I picked against him too many times, and I'm going to ride him until the wheels fall off. Going into that Corey fight on the live stream, in this fucking chair right here, I put $700 on Cheeto money line because I'm like, we're doing this. They've set it up. It's going to be Cheeto and Sugar for the title. He's going to beat Corey. He's going to do this. And I sat here for 5 rounds and watched his corner pleading with him. Cheeto, we got to get going. We got to get going. And he just cannot flip that switch. He can't flip that switch. Pedro is going to get ahead. And by the time Cheeto realizes it, the fight's going to be over, and he's going to lose another decision. When it comes, I think it's probably going to be close. It could be a split decision, but I can trust Pedro. I feel like I can trust Pedro much more to be able to outpoint somebody than Cheeto. And that's how simple it comes down to.
I'm not gonna argue to the death on that one because I agree. I mean, we had the exact same breakdown, just a different pick. Because I think this could look like the Rob Font fight. Rob Font smoked Cheeto Vera.
He
This
stayed
dude.
in box. Pedro didn't just stay in box people.
Yes, he does. He'll throw some leg kicks, but that doesn't matter.
Also, Pedro's got, don't be surprised if he hurts Cheeto, because Cheeto, this is the hardest puncher Cheeto's faced in a long, long time. Pedro's got real power. They just got like 8 knockdowns in 10 fights. He's got real power.
Yeah, I mean, he just knocked down Chris Gutierrez, who's supposed to be this big prospect. So this should be a really fun fight. I did do a little parlay with Cheeto. I'll tell you the other side when we get to that fight. And I do have some buyer's remorse in that because the more I looked at it, I jumped on it because I was like, listen, I think he's overrated, but I think Pedro Munhoz stepping up on short notice, I just don't know how well that's going to go for him. He's older, and I do have a little bit of buyer's remorse. 36. So I do have a little bit of buyer's remorse.
36 is the new 22 in my mind.
I bet it is. I bet, and that's why you're able to talk to Burton DMs, because you're only 22. Creep. So a little bit of buyer's remorse on that. $8,600 to $7,600. Pedro's probably the better value because I agree. This is going to go to a decision, and Pedro is just going to. They'll both land a ton of punches here. There'll probably be 0 takedowns and no finish, and Pedro could score well by just with sheer volume.
I think that this is going to look like the Sean fight. I think it's just going to be a lot of staring. I think the crowd starts booing. I think this is a boring fight. Yeah. Because Pedro, I mean, you saw. I mean, he'll just sit there and just okay, I'll just leg kick. Okay. You're not going to throw a punch. Okay. Leg kick. You know, leg kick.
Yeah, he doesn't
and Cheeto
care
will
if
just
he's
stand
boring.
there, just nice and tall, waiting to counter. Same thing that Sean was doing.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean, it could be. It absolutely could be because Pedro is almost too smart. He's almost too good of a veteran where, boo, I don't care.
I wish he would wrestle. I mean, he could get a takedown versus Cheeto, and he's, as you mentioned, a really high-level grappler, but he just doesn't do that. But maybe he does this fight. I mean, he could bring it in. ATT, they get game plans.
You're right, but short notice, I don't know what his cardio situation is, but wrestling's exhausting. And on short notice, you're going to start to wrestle?
For some people, I guess.
Well, you and I are fist fighting on February 9th, so we'll find out then if wrestling's so hard or easy for you.
I don't know what you're talking about.
WeWantPicks.com. Become a premium member. It's only $10 a month. You will unlock everything you have ever imagined you could ever need to make some money and have some fun watching fights. WeWantPicks.com. Click Become a member. If you're watching this live, the website is currently down. GoDaddy's working on the server, but they have assured me. I talked to them right before we went live, and they said the ticket is active right now, and their goal is to get it done today. So it should be squared away. What's so annoying about that is we didn't do anything. It's not like we broke something and then called them, oh my God, we rolled this out, or there's a version update. Can you do? It just went down. And I'm like, hey, it's down. Yeah, there's an issue. What? That's not how that works. So yeah. Next up, at UFC 292, we have a very, very short notice fight. This was announced last night, and the odds were dropped 20 minutes before we went live. And the odds, I will tell you right now, have already moved in that 20 minutes. Right now,
Minus
Mario
211.
Batista is minus 211. Money
But
is
it was-
coming in. On
Those
Mario
are not at the opening. It was earlier today. It was 225.
Was it? Mm-hmm. I saw it like an hour ago is when I saw it, and then or 2 hours ago, and then I started.
225 is when I saw it. That's the first alert I got on Discord from somebody, a screenshot.
Well, we got Damon Blackshear stepping up on. It'll officially be 7 days from when he fought to when he will fight again. He ties Lupi Godinez for the only two people in history that fought twice in a 7-day period. But he's stepping up on like 3 days' notice, and he's coming off that incredible. What the hell was it? A
twister?
Yeah, a
Mr.
twister
Jiu-Jitsu.
submission.
Mr. Jiu-Jitsu.
My brain is not firing on all cylinders. He's coming off that incredible
the
twister
alcohol.
submission where he just ran through a short notice Jose Johnson. He's taking on Mario Bautista, 12-2 overall, 3-1-1 in his last 5. He's coming off a win, that's a 3-fight submission streak. Sorry, he's 4-1 in his. Jesus Christ, 4-1 in his last 5. He's riding a 3-fight submission win streak. He was supposed to fight Cody Garbrandt. When he was fighting Cody Garbrandt, full disclosure, he was in my safety parlay. He's not going back in it against Damon Blackshear. Damon Blackshear is good. We just saw how good he is. He's supposed to be an athletic striker with impressive speed and power. And then he comes in here, and we knew he could wrestle. We knew he could grapple. But he was initiating the takedowns and then won by twister. It was absolutely incredible what he was
You
able
ever
to
twister
do.
someone?
No, of course not.
Would you even know how to do it?
No, probably not, honestly.
Well, you gotta
Okay. Thanks
hook
for
the
the
on the underleg. You gotta hook that. You gotta bring it down, put the arm around, then you just crank the neck. It really puts the pressure on the spine, Angelo. I'll show you February 9th. You want me to put you on a fucking twister February 9th?
I would love it.
I bet you would.
Damon Blackshear, solid volume, great striking, or very good striking, technical boxing, clean takedowns. Mario Bautista is a high volume, sort of take one to give one kind of striker. I'm saying striker on purpose. People are like, he's a grappler. I think I would argue Mario Bautista is a striker who then grapples, and he's so phenomenal at grappling, it goes his way. But he's going to come forward. He doesn't care if you hit him in the face. He's going to hit you in the face. He's going to just stay light on his feet, stay very, very, very busy, and constantly moving forward, letting his hands go. He is evolving. He has worked in takedowns his last couple of fights. 4 wins in a row with 10 takedowns combined. He's coming off that submission win over Guido Canetti, where he had 3 takedowns in the first round. I think Mario Bautista wins this fight. I think these super short, like Pedro Munhoz stepping up on short notice, he's probably in the gym. He's probably been training, waiting for a fight to come across the desk and, staying ready-ish. But Damon Blackshear, I don't know his personal life. I'm going to make a lot of assumptions. Won that fight. Spectacular win. I think he got a bonus out of it. That dude must have, unless he's sober, went out, had some drinks, ate like a king, enjoyed that moment potentially for a couple of days. And then it's like, oh, you got to fight. It's like, oh, shit. I just gained God knows how much weight that I got to start working back down. These guys, especially at this weight class, they start cutting weight a week out is when they start like, all right, we got a water load and we got to get this down. I'm only eating grilled chicken without salt and broccoli. Like I could see you almost gag saying that. There's a method to all of that. So this super short notice, he 100% celebrated his win and ate and drank. 100% after he made weigh-ins, he ate a lot more than he would have, right? Had included some salt to rehydrate. This is a lot of words to say. I think the short notice is going to be a problem here. If it wasn't short notice, it'd be a very different breakdown. I do think Mario Bautista wins this fight only because of the short notice. What do you think, Jakey boy?
Yeah, I was trying to guess in Discord earlier this morning. By the way, Discord's 100% free, and even though the site's,
100%,
even though the site isn't working at this moment, it will be fixed. You can chop it up in Discord. And in Discord this morning, we were trying to decide what the odds were going to be for this fight. And I thought that they were going to open about minus 175 and push to 250 because of the short notice before everything going on. And it's kind of yo-yoing now, but it opened minus 225 down to minus 180. Now it's back up to 211, whatever it is. So I was kind of right on the money there, by the way. That was just a little sidebar to make just kind of toot my horn. But the reason we were discussing those odds were because I think that if this wasn't short notice, this is a pick-em fight. I mean, Blackshear can definitely hang with Mario Bautista because, as you mentioned, Mario Bautista has found the wrestling, has kind of turned into a wrestler, and he kind of, I don't want to say he gets desperate with the wrestling, but he has kind of he's gone all in at times with the wrestling. And Blackshear is a guy that is dangerous on the ground, that knows what he's doing, can out-grapple, can win a scramble. And we've seen when he starts winning scrambles, he's on your back. He is a very dangerous grappler, but as you mentioned, because of the short notice, because it's cutting weight twice, is like it's gonna drain you. I don't care how good a shape. I don't care even if he didn't go out and it was partying. Maybe he locked it in and said, maybe I'll stick around. Maybe we got something next week. Maybe there was already talks.
Yeah, he still had the post-weigh-in dinner.
Even if he was preparing to fight twice, it's still gonna drain you. You even saw what we have compared to is Loopy. Loopy did it, and she even fought up in weight. She didn't even cut that extra weight. She was up in weight, and she still had a great first round. And then at that first round, it was like you could tell, okay, this is what it looks like when you try to fight 2 times in 7 days. Chimaev did it in 10 days, maybe the extra 3 days. And I mean, it's Chimaev, so it's a little bit different levels. But
he won that fight in like 8 seconds.
Right, and I just think that there's just a little bit too much to ask, and that's probably why the odds are the way they are. But tit for tat, skill for skill, Blackshear definitely does stack up against Mario, and I'm a big Mario guy. So I just think that Mario, if he gets in a weird situation, can stay safe early. Maybe he can't, but I think he can. And then Blackshear just won't have that same pop, that same energy as he would, cutting that weight and fighting twice in a week. So I am going Mario here, but I fully understand and respect the danger that Damon presents and brings into this fight. And weird things could happen for sure. It should be I'm glad they put this together. It's better than Mario just smoking somebody, because I don't think he's going to smoke Damon or Damon. So.
No, I completely agree. And frankly, I'm a big Damon Blackshear fan. I bet on him in his last 2 fights. Obviously,
that was one of the biggest bets you've ever placed in your life.
He was a big favorite in this last fight, but I bet on him when he was a big underdog before that. When everybody was like, oh, when he was winless in the UFC and everybody's like, he sucks. It's like, did you watch those fights? Did you watch those fights? Like, those were good competitive fights.
I was at 285.
And he listens to his corner. My favorite thing about Damon Blackshear is he sits on that stool, he listens to his corner, and he makes those adjustments immediately. Again, the only reason I'm picking against him here is because of the short notice. But if this line moves, and I might throw money on him just because I do think he's very, very good. And if this wasn't short notice, he could win this fight. So we'll see what the line does. But as of right now, I'm not really going to do anything with it. Like Jacob said, the Discord is one. I should have said this much earlier. The Discord is 100% free. Once you have a premium membership, you can link that to your Discord, and that'll unlock premium channels. But the general chat and a bunch of the other channels are 100% free. We're 3,600 people strong, or maybe 4,000 at this point. And it's a solid community. Josh, the website guy, just put in probably 20, 30 hours of building AI bots that you can interact with, adding tiers and rules and levels that unlock certain things. And it's a great Discord. It's far more than just like, beep, boop, I'm a nerd. No offense to you guys. I really let them have it for being nerds. Next up, at UFC 292, we have the featured fight of the evening. We have Ian Machado Gary taking on Neil Magny. Neil Magny, short notice. Is that 4 short notice fights on this card? That's a lot of short notice fights.
I don't know.
Ian Machado Gary is undefeated. He's 12-0. He's coming off that head kick knockout over Daniel Rodrigues. He's taking on Neil Magny, 28-10. Neil stepping up on a little over a week's notice, week and a half. 28-10 overall, 3-2 in his last 5. He has alternating wins and then losses. This is an interesting fight. There's a lot of people that are positive Neil Magny wins this fight, and I get it.
Oh, Neil Magny, huh?
What?
You said there are people that are positive that Neil Magny is going to win this fight.
Yes. Do you know who?
Wait, that's a real statement? I thought you meant to say
Yeah.
Ian Gary.
Yes. One of
Who
them. I'm
the
not gonna...
fuck thinks Neil Magny wins this fight?
He's watching this video right now, and we're in a group chat with him. So,
Oh my!
take it up with him. Take it up with him.
Oh my God!
So he's positive Neil Magny wins, and I get it to an extent. Neil Magny is a very well-rounded fighter. He's got all the experience in the world, 38 professional fights. He can get takedowns. He can come forward. He is long. He is a rangy striker. He's got good BJJ. He's very good everywhere. So I understand how people could say, yeah, Neil Magny can win this fight, right? Very well-rounded. He's tough. He's not a guy you just get out of there. Skilled everywhere. All the things. His overall UFC record is 21-9. He's fought the absolute who's who of multiple divisions. And his last 2 losses were to Shavkat Rakhmonov and Gilbert Burns. Gilbert might not beat Ian Gary, but Shavkat runs through Ian Gary. So I get it. You think Ian Gary's better than Shavkat Rakhmonov? You're out of your mind.
Oh my
You're out of your
God!
mind.
The disrespect for Ian Gary is out of control, man.
I'm about to pick him and say how confident I
Oh
am.
my
He is,
God!
I have gotten a little more confidence in Ian Gary over his last couple of fights because we saw him get dropped. We saw him almost get put out, done.
I
and
saw
he
it
sat
live
up.
at 285.
Congratulations. You went to a pay-per-view one time. He sat down on the stool, shook it off, said, that was a mistake. I made this mistake. I shouldn't have this. I shouldn't have done that. And then whatever. Went back out there and then took over the fight. So I watched him go through some adversity. If I hadn't seen that, I would still be like, this dude's overrated because he is hittable. I've been saying he's hittable since his UFC debut. He is hittable. His chin's out there, hittable. Neil Magny doesn't have the one-punch power. I do think Ian Gary gets it done because he's got that very laser pinpoint accurate striking. He does have some very real power. He just knocked out, and MMA math is dumb, but he just knocked out Daniel Rodrigues, who Neil Magny frankly struggled with. If Neil Magny gets some takedowns, Ian Gary could potentially be in a lot of trouble. But if Ian Gary can survive and win this fight, very similar to how he beat Darian Weeks. Darian Weeks took him down, but Ian Gary worked through it, got up, did those things. Then Ian Gary should win. I'm very confident in him to win. I had no doubt in my mind whatsoever until I talked to this person that was like, dude, Neil Magny is just going to take him down. He's just going to lay on him. He's just going to lean on him. He's just going to do all that. So don't be too, he's watching, Jacob. Don't be too disrespectful. He's watching.
My turn?
Your turn.
Yeah. So the only way that Neil Magny ever even wins a fight in general, ever even wins a fight, is when people fight Neil Magny the way that he wants to fight. And that is clinch, 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 dirty, nasty. He wears people down. He usually gets beat on and beat in the first couple rounds. Then he wears people down. And he even will invite people to the cage. He will back up against the cage, put himself on the cage, and say, please come towards me. I'm going to grab you. And from there, that's when he is getting his takedowns. That's where he's getting his control. He's not shooting singles, shooting doubles. He wants to get in the clinch. He wants to hold. And he will work trips, and he will dirty box, and he will throw elbows, and he will wear people down. All you got to do. And I tried, and I preached, and I tried to tell Phil Rowe. Phil Rowe's my guy. I tried to tell Phil Rowe, don't fucking clinch with this guy. He's going to put his back against the fucking fence. You stand there and you just snipe him. And you saw Phil Rowe when he did that. The very few times that he did that was just lighting Neil Magny up. Boom, boom, boom. But then he would land a right hand and then go into the clinch. And that is how he lost that fight, because he engaged in the clinch. And every time You fight Neil Magny the way that he wants to fight. He probably is going to win that fight. He's very good at fighting in those fights. And I just got to pray to God. Ian Gary seems like a smart kid. You mentioned he got knocked down. I was at that fight, and let me tell you, that was not a fun moment for me because I had Ian Gary and all sorts of stuff, and I was just screaming, survive! For the love of God, just survive. But he's a smart kid. He's a high IQ kid. I've been on him since his debut. I said, you guys think that he's a douchebag. You can think whatever he wants. But this is a fucking high-level guy that's going...
Whoa.
That's going to be a fucking champion one day. I mean, Angelo's trying to censor me. It's crazy.
I didn't do anything.
That might have been Josh. He might have been sick of it and hacked into it and just is trying to shut it all down. But I'm telling you right now that all Ian Gary's got to do is just get him against the fence. Neil Magny's going to put his back against the fence. You just stand there and you just treat him like a fucking heavy bag and you can knock this guy out. He's pretty durable, but Ian Gary should have no issues with Neil Magny. He's not dangerous. He doesn't have one-punch power. He wants to grind on you. He wants to wear on you. Just stay away from him. Keep your distance. That's what Ian Gary does best, and he should pick him apart and dominate this fight.
I agree with that. I will say this individual did get me a little. Granted, I don't have my wits about me today. I didn't sleep last night. The website thing's stressing me out. But it did make me a little nervous. The whole Neil Magny can just come forward and lean on him, come forward and lay on him.
Ian Gary is just Mr. Footwork. He's boom, boom, slip off counters.
He should listen. Ian Gary was in the original safety parlay, which is now broken because of Mario Bautista. So I get it.
And these odds are minus 500, by the way, too, now.
So, I mean, those moved pretty fast. Tuesday's pretty big move day, I guess. But I did put a bet openly bet in the live chat. A lot of these people in the live chat, I don't know if you've been watching, a lot of them are insisting Neil Magny wins. So I put a bet openly bet in there. If you don't know what bet openly is, it is peer-to-peer betting. It's me betting you. That is my money. I just put up $100 of my money. I bet it on Ian Gary, so you can take Neil Magny. It's a $100 bet, but you can just do $10 of it. So 10 of you can do $10. You can take the whole 100, and you're going to get better odds in the. What are the odds right now at Bet Online? Whatever it is.
Minus 500.
No, the other side.
Oh, let me just check for you.
Yeah,
then.
it's fine. It doesn't matter. You're going to get better odds.
Plus 375.
Okay, so I asked you that. I don't even know what the odds are on this side. But you're going to get better odds because, hold on, do I know them?
Let me just say this right now while you're looking at that. Ian Gary called
it's
for
plus
this matchup.
428. You're going to get plus 428, which is way better odds. Way better odds. Take those. $23 wins you 100.
Ian Gary called for this matchup. He knows what he's doing here. There's a reason why he called out Neil Magny. Neil Magny is kind of a name, but you're not calling out people that it's like, you might. He knows what to do in this matchup. He called him out. He actually signed to fight Jeff Neal. I didn't know if he realized that he actually was going to fight a different person, but now he's fighting the person that he wanted to fight, that he called out. And, there's a reason why he wanted to fight this guy. It's kind of a name, and he knows that he possesses zero danger to Ian Gary.
I'm going to hide you and bring you back. Your microphone's a little weird. It's still doing it. Your microphone's weird. There's like feedback. Maybe change your input or something. There's a couple of these people a couple of them are insisting.
I don't hear it on the stream. Sounds like it's just you.
Okay. I'm hearing like crackle.
Anybody else hear it? Or is this guy fucking losing it?
Plus 420, whatever the hell odds. Let me find. There's a whole bunch of people I'm about to call out right now.
They hear it.
No.
Fuck.
He wasn't in the safety parlay versus Jeff. He was in the safety parlay versus Neil Magny. Hold on. All right, Blunt. You said Magny's the easiest money. I just put out a bet. You can take my literal money, and you're going to get way better odds than any bookie on this planet. You're going to get my money. There's a link in this live chat. There's literally zero excuse not to do it. I just did this in the Discord. There was just somebody in the Discord running their mouth the other day about how JP Bays was going to win. So, okay. So I put my money. Dude wasn't soft. Took the bet. Lost, embarrassingly. But he took the bet. So, there it is. Did you fix your microphone? Yeah, what'd you do?
Because it was never broke in the first place, you stupid asshole.
So what'd you do?
I've just been sitting here. You're the one that was talking. I said
It just went
fixed.
away on its own. It just went away on its own.
I literally just
you
sat here.
You swear on your obese dog's life you didn't change a thing?
I just sat here. All of a sudden it's fixed. Wow, Angelo. It's funny how that works.
Even the live chat said they could hear your bullshit.
No, they're just feeding. They're just trolling. It's just what they do.
Okay. And when we watch...
Yo, did you see what you just pinned?
What did it say?
Who's to say it wasn't Angelo's mic? That's what you just pinned. Subconsciously.
I don't hear my own... I don't hear my own microphone.
Well, it must be really fucking up, so...
$9,600 in DraftKings. I probably will spend that. Ian Gary does put up numbers when he wins, but Neil Magny's a tough dude. Neil Magny's not, bang, bang, done kind of guy. Obviously, he can be out-grappled. We just watched that happen with Shavkat and with Neil.
What do you call Shavkat? It's Shavkat.
Rakhmonov.
It's Shavkat.
Shavkat. You just saw that with the Shavkat.
Anyway, Neil Magny is tough, so it might be hard for Ian Gary to cover that. I'll probably take a closer look, but he may be worth that $9,600.
Ian Gary versus Shavkat. Easiest
Shavkat
lock of the week of all
Rakhmonov
time.
takes him down.
Easiest lock of the week.
See,
of all
the fact that you even
time.
assumed he'd be the underdog tells you everything.
Well, of course he's gonna be the underdog.
Why?
Shavkat.
Shavkat's that good. That's right. Correct.
Well, he's got all finishes. I mean, fuck, man.
Yeah. No, didn't he finished Jeff Neal?
Yeah.
Oh, but Jeff Neal
finishes.
was like lighting him up or something. I remember it being like, whoa, that was a little closer than people thought. That's what I remember. And I always remember things correctly. WeOwnPicks.com. Click Become a Member. It is only $10 a month, and you'll get all the tools, all the information, anything you could have ever needed to make some money watching fights. What?
Last part, which is, depending on how you feel about it, could be a big part of the entire thing. So the Jan Alex Bejeda fight, and this is a known thing, there was an embedded haircut curse. Jan got his haircut on embedded, lost the fight. That's a big known thing. Embedded today, Ian Gary was getting his haircut on the embedded. So take that in consideration.
All right, that does suck. Couple of super chats. Phantom sent 5 francs. This line won't last long. That was the Blackshear. He sent it right at the end of the Blackshear breakdown. Thank you very much, Phantom. And then we have another super chat from Funky Cold. $2 from Funk. O'Malley, lock of the week. Then he laughed in your fucking face, you dumb clown bitch. Thank you, Funky Cold. Next up, at UFC 292, we have the main event of the evening. We have Weili Zhang taking on Amanda Lemos. Weili Zhang, 23-3 overall. The current and former strawweight champion of the world. She's 3-2 in her last 5, and she's coming off that title win over Carla Esparza. Amanda Lemos, 13-2 overall, 4-1 in her last 5. She's coming off 2 stoppage wins in a row.
Was that paramedics? What's it say for?
No, I literally was tongue-tied. It wasn't like it was like my tongue. Anyway, I have a giant. How do you think I get a wife like this? Anyway.
What?
Weili, as I mentioned, former and current UFC champion. She lost her belt to Rose, lost a rematch to Rose, then beat the piss out of now retired Joanna Jędrzejczyk. Rose lost in the worst fight in the history of time to Carla Esparza, and then Weili just smoked Carla Esparza. And that's the full cycle of her belt. It is not very often that a champ loses their belt and then gets it back like a year or 2 later. But Weili did, because she's incredible everywhere. She's got very good striking. She's incredibly strong. She's got very good wrestling and very good jiu-jitsu. She's literally good everywhere. I think she is by far the best person in this division, the most well-rounded person. Even those losses to Rose. The first was she was knocked out, big head kick. Got her, done, can't argue that. The second one, I think she won that second fight. I think that was a bad decision.
I'm sorry, you said she's the best in the division?
Oh, did you know that Amanda Hebos is in this division, who was just flatlined? I do know she's in this division. I just watched them scrape her off the floor. She's taking on Amanda Lemos. Amanda Lemos is a Muay Thai striker. She's got fast hands, a ton of power. She does a very good job keeping her fights at that Muay Thai range and then avoiding takedowns. She's got a solid 81% takedown defense. You're even going to see that she was submitted by Jessica Andrade. That was like some fluky standing against the cage stuff. She was not taken down in that fight. She is coming off that TKO win over Maryna Rodrigues where she had her own takedowns or really just one, but 3 minutes of control time, pretty low volume on her feet. I think Weili wins this fight. I think Weili is going to be better than Amanda everywhere except probably raw power, right? Amanda definitely has some very, very real power. But Weili just showed us that she can wrestle, showed us that she can grapple. We knew she was a phenomenal striker. And I'm very, very confident in Weili. I mentioned I have that parlay with her. The only thing that worries me a little bit is Amanda's very good. Like very, very, very good. And that's what worries me here. I don't really see a hole in Weili's game. Obviously, she's been knocked out, can be knocked out. Outside of that, I don't see her losing. So very confident Weili. I mentioned I think Weili is the best in the world. I think Amanda Lemos is probably the second best in this division. And there's just a big-ass gap between 1 and 2, and that's going to happen sometimes. So Weili's the very confident pick. What do you think, Jakey Boy?
Yeah, I've honestly gone back and forth on this fight. And originally, I'll be honest with you, I did pick Lemos because when I'm watching, there's two things that are absolutely true. Actually, let me say three things that are absolutely true about Weili. Number one, she's the better overall fighter in this match. The more technical fighter. She honestly should win the fight because of that. The two things are very important in my mind. Number one, she is tough as shit. Weili is very, very tough. We've seen her get in wars, and she can come out of those wars, and she's going to work through positions. And even if there's adversity, unless she's like completely put out, she will work through situations. Number three, which I guess is number two of the important parts,
What?
is I'm sorry you can't keep up, but everyone else in the chat is more than capable.
Okay.
The second point is that we know that she's tough because she does get hit. And when you watch these fights, and I rewatched the Joanna fight and some other fights, she does get hit. And Joanna was laying some nice right hands on Weili. Now, Joanna's going to be probably faster than Lemos. But if Lemos is landing those same shots, she can definitely put away Weili. I believe that Lemos, in the striking, even in the grappling, is the more dangerous fighter. She's very aggressive in everything she does. And if Weili comes in a little bit willy-nilly and says, you know what, I'm gonna wrestle early, and I'm gonna wear down Lemos, and I'm gonna take the pop out of her shots, that's probably what she should do. And you can mess around on the feet a little bit, but Lemos, I mean, she just fucking stands there, man. And she just stands there and she's like, come on. Throw that strike, and I'm going to throw this right hand. If you want to wrestle early, though, and Weili isn't like this, I've been wrestling my whole life, and I know how to wrestle. She can wrestle, and she can get takedowns, but Lemos is also very good at those. You saw it happen with Michelle Waterson. I mean, she will chase the guillotine, and I think she is very dangerous. But as I was breaking down the fight, and I was leaning into it a little bit more, after I picked Lemos as my pick, I was like, you know what? I can't make a pick off of what I believe is probably a Hail Mary situation. Because just like people were saying, everyone's got a puncher's chance. And Lemos definitely has as much puncher's chance as anyone is going to have in a fight. But that feels like that probably is what that is, right? Weili is more technical. She's the better overall fighter. Even if she gets hit, there's no guarantee that she's going to get knocked out. We've seen her take shots before. And if she's able to even eat shots or get the wrestling involved, she should honestly probably wear down Amanda and kind of dominate this fight into later rounds. So I kind of went back on myself. I said, you know what? I understand that Lemos is probably the better fighter, but I can't make her my pick. But I do believe that the value here is probably in some Lemos props rather than like a Weili money line, because Lemos is dangerous, man. She's dangerous, and don't be surprised if something weird happens and she ends up winning this title. But as far as a pick, I mean, Weili is the better fighter. And as you said, it's hard to pick against the better fighter. So I'm going with Weili here, but I mean, she is not, for me, it's not like crazy parlays. It's not chasing -300 money line. I respect the danger of Lemos. My Brazilian women, you know. And Lemos is hot. Both these girls are hot.
I have a couple of parlays on this card. I have no money lines, actually. There was a lot of people I was confident in. They were a little expensive, so I have a couple of different parlays. I am not overly exposed to anybody. And Whaley's probably in my sketchiest parlay because while I am confident in her, the other half is Cheeto, who I'm not insanely confident in.
What a dumb bet.
Okay. You want me to throw it on Bet Openly? You want to take the other side? Tough guy? Like that doofus in the...
I'll take that all day, honestly, because I think both of them could lose. Go ahead. Set it
you
up.
only need one.
Go ahead.
Okay. I would just... Next time you're talking...
Oh, pussy.
I'll send it to you. Why would I? Okay. $9,200 in DraftKings. This is a 5-round fight, and I do think there will be wrestling. So I think Weili is worth the 92.
There will be blood.
I think she's worth.
Do you know what that's from?
There will be blood.
There will be blood.
Is it from There Will Be Blood?
Dun dun dun. Dun 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 ba 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 ba.
I can't wait till your next door basement level apartment neighbor complains that you're loud and screaming and banging on the walls. All right. $9,200 in DraftKings.
Said copyright.
It was just so clear. I think Whaley's worth the $9,200 in DraftKings. She's probably going to work in some takedowns, and this is a 5-round fight, and if it goes a distance, we'll get our money's worth, and if it doesn't, we'll get our money's worth. Do you agree with that statement?
I didn't really hear what you said because I'm just lost in the beauty of both these women. I like Weili. Weili's hilarious too. She's learning more and more English. On the embedded too, she learned how to say, "What's up, brother?" And somebody walked in, she's like, "What's up, brother?" And they fucking lost it. It's so funny. She's funny. She's funny.
Yeah, that is funny. But certainly Amanda Lemos, like you mentioned, one punch is an option. So she should potentially be in some of your GPP lineups. WeOwnPicks.com. It's only $10 a month. You can unlock all the tools, all the insight, all the bets, including the safety parlay for this card and every other card in a month period. This is not a week. This is not per event. This is per month. WeOwnPicks.com. Click Become a Member. A couple of super chats. $1.99 from Cloud Limited Liability Corporation. He says, O'Malley is too easy. What you LMAO about? Oh, I think this was...
Did you get the super chat of that guy that was thanking me that he won $2,000 on my lock of the week?
Sure did not.
Oh, my God. I just remember that one.
No, it must have been a while ago.
It was a long time ago because I was going to tell him thanks for the 5 spot. He said, I think it was 5 Canadian. He's like, your lock of the week won me $2,000. Appreciate the donation.
I'll take it. Thank you. I'll see if I can find it. And then $1.90 signed from Junior Ranks. He says, I'm 100% sure Lemos will win by vicious knockout.
With the laughing emoji.
Oh. Well, but sometimes people use that like... I don't know. I'm too old to know how people use that shit. Okay. Let's move on.
Oh.
Here we go. Boom. Next up at UFC 292, we have the main event of the evening. We have Aljamain Sterling defending his belt in a pretty quick turnaround against Sean O'Malley. Aljamain Sterling, 23-3 overall, 5-0 in his last 5, riding a 9-fight win streak with 4 title fights. He's taking on Sean O'Malley, 16-1, 4-0-1 in his last 5, coming off the very close win over Petr Yan. And just a little bit of a backstory here, just a reminder for people who didn't know or didn't remember, Aljamain Sterling didn't want this fight on this date. He beat Henry Cejudo, he defended his belt, and he said, give me a break, I'm fighting too much, I want some time off, I don't want to be fighting right now. And you think Sean wins, then you wore the clown hair, like kind of making fun of him. That's rough. Anyway, Aljamain Sterling didn't want this fight. He said he wanted the break. He said he had a bunch of little injuries. He wants to heal up, and he wanted to do it later in the year. UFC basically said, for some reason, even though you've done everything we want you to do, we don't like you, and you're going to take this fight anyway because we want Sean O'Malley to headline Boston. And that's what happened. So Aljamain Sterling stepped up, did, what he was supposed to do for the company, and just a little personal opinion there. What sucks is this is the type of shit that in like 5 years, maybe he's having a contract dispute, stuff like that, the UFC is going to forget all about. They're going to forget the time that Aljamain Sterling defended his belt when he didn't want to, or lost his belt when he fought somebody on a date he didn't want to fight. So all of those circumstances always stuck when the UFC bullies people into doing shit. Anyway, all of that aside, we've got Aljamain Sterling, the current champion. He just beat Olympic gold medalist Henry Cejudo, who was coming off a 2-year break. He just beat him to defend the belt. And he's a backpack wrestler. He does have some striking. He's developed his own style where he's using kicks really well. He manages range really well. And then he'll work in takedowns. And what he does a really nice job of is when he gets the takedowns, he'll climb on your back. He'll hang. He'll squeeze. He'll do all of those things. You're not going to shake him. He'll work towards a submission. If it's there, he'll certainly grab it. But his focus is on control. Just control, control, control. I got the takedown, and that's why they call it backpack, right? You're going to wear him like a backpack. He's taking on Sean O'Malley. Sean O'Malley is a very good striker with pinpoint laser accuracy in both his hands and his feet. He's got some power. He's putting people away. He's super fast and very, very accurate. The accuracy is the most important part there because that's how he's knocking these people out. It's just whamp, and they'd have no idea where it came from, and it landed exactly where he wanted it to. Before his last fight, his durability was questioned. His toughness was questioned a little bit because he fought Chito Vera. Chito crashed his legs a little, and then he, fell down and said his leg was numb or his ankle was numb, and that was the end of that. But in his last fight, where he fought Petr Yan, that was a war. That was a straight-up back-and-forth war. That fight was so much closer than anybody thought. I thought Petr was going to run through him. I actually do think Petr won that fight on the judges' scorecard. But regardless of how you scored it, I think everybody recognizes, oh, okay, Sean O'Malley's legit tough. Like, he's not a quitter. He's not going to, just fold if there's pressure because he fought the second best guy in the division and went toe-to-toe to him for 3 full rounds. All of that being said, I think Aljamain Sterling wins this fight. I think Aljamain can stay safe, avoid, that accuracy, avoid that power, and then just start to grind, start to wrestle. If we go back to that Petr Yan fight, Sean O'Malley started the fade, and that was a 3-round fight. I imagine a 5-round fight's going to be much harder, much worse. Aljamain Sterling just took down an Olympic gold medalist 4 times. 4 times. He'll take down Sean O'Malley. I think Aljamain Sterling wins this fight. Shaky boy, what do you think?
Let me preface everything that I'm saying. And I did this on my quick pick video, and I like to do this because it really is going to it's going to take a turn here. But let me just say, I'm not an Aljo hater, and Angelo can attest to this. I was one of the only people that were picking him against Petr Yan in the first fight. I stuck to my guns. When everyone was like, oh my God, how could you ever pick Aljo again in the second round? Petr Yan is going to steamroll Aljamain Sterling. I stuck to my gun and said, no, because I saw the positions that he was able to get to, and he said he had a bad weight cut, and I believed him, and I said, listen, if he gets to those same positions, he will get the takedowns that he needs, and he will win this fight, and I got fucking destroyed for that. I mean, I think you remember that. I was getting destroyed all week, so I'm not an Aljo hater. I understand when he has a favorable matchup, when he can win a fight. So I just want to get that out there because what I'm about to say next is not going to be good for Aljamain Sterling. Let me say this right now. This is a stat that I brought up, and it's a stat that people are going to scoff at and this and that. But in his last 8 fights, and I'm not going to include the TJ stats, he was 5 for 8 on takedowns against TJ. TJ had 1 arm from the get-go, and even with 1 arm, this guy was able to get back to his feet. The thought that there's this narrative out here that Aljamain Sterling is this overly dominant wrestler, overly dominant grappler, that when you get in octagon with Aljamain Sterling, he is going to take you down, he is going to get you on the ground, and he is going to submit you 100 out of 100 times. That's the way people talk about Aljamain Sterling. His last 8 fights, not including the TJ fight, he was 5 for 8 on takedowns there. His takedown line, did I send you this stat? Do you want to guess what this fucking stat is?
No, you did.
His takedowns are 9 for 78. Say that real fucking slow to yourselves. 9 for 78. That is 11% takedown accuracy. And a lot of people are going to be saying, yeah, but that he won all those fights. He did win all those fights. Barely. He barely won half of those fights. He comes into these fights and he struggles. He is not an agree or disagree with me. He is not an open mat takedown guy. He is not shooting. He is not Marab diving at ankles with blast doubles and getting singles. He is walking people down with his striking pressure. He is getting them against the fence. He is then changing levels and he is methodically working. And that worked great against Petr Yan. A nice high guard. Aljo can walk him down, change levels, get him against the fence, take him down. Against the Hobbit Henry Cejudo, he can walk down. There's no real danger in the striking, in the range. He can keep the range, walk him down, get those takedowns, and get him to the ground. Against one-arm TJ Dillashaw, he was able to walk him down because TJ literally has one arm. Against a guy like Sugar Sean O'Malley, who is going to be ready for the pressured striking of Aljo. And Aljo, I'm telling you right now, please watch his fights and the way that he pressures these fighters against the cage. It is hands low. It is sloppy. His defensive striking is absolutely terrible. And Sean is going to be there for the shot. He is going to hurt this guy worse than anyone has ever hurt him except for Marlon Moraes when he got knocked out fucking cold. His defensive striking is terrible, especially when he is pressuring to get the takedown. He is going to come with the terrible defense, pressure, and the thing I want to mention the most, I mentioned my quick pick video, is Tim Welsh. Tim Welsh does not get the credit he deserves for game planning for Sugar. If Sugar was not with Tim Welsh, he would be a nobody. He would be a wild guy doing his wild shit, and he would lose a lot of fights. Tim Welsh is the mastermind that keeps him honed, that keeps him patient, that has him looking for the shots, and he's already in Sugar's ear. Listen, the shot's going to be there, man. You're too fast. You're too accurate. When he is making those entries, you will find that shot. And Sugar is going to find that shot in the first round. Aljo is going to panic. He's going to gas, and he's going to get finished in the second round of this fight. The last thing I want to mention is because Aljo does not have open mat takedowns, one of his favorite things to do is catch kicks. When people kick, he will catch kicks. He will work trips and stuff off those kicks. When you are trying to catch kicks against somebody that is kicking like Sean, you are going to eat a fucking head kick. And you saw Henry throw one up in the first or second round of that fight. Oh boy, he ate it. But if that's Sugar, you're getting knocked out. If you watch that Henry fight, there was probably 6 or 7 in the first 2 rounds shots that Henry lands or throws that if that's Sugar throwing those, if that's Sugar landing those, Aljo's getting put out. His offense or his defensive striking is terrible. He is going to get lit up. He's not this guy that just take down everyone he wants to. He has to put pressure with his strikes. It's not going to work. Sean is going to snipe this dude. He's going to put him out, and that's why he's the fucking lock of the week, and we're all getting paid Saturday night.
Yeah, I disagree. You do a great job spinning your little narrative, telling your little story. I
yes
disagree.
or no, does he have open mat takedowns?
No. I didn't let me finish. I do think Sean O'Malley is live, but I think Sean O'Malley is live for like 2 rounds max because he does slow down.
Aljo is the guy that
Aljo
is always the guy that slows down. Why is nobody talking about the fact that he's the one that wins early rounds and he's the one that gasses? He's the one that struggles to cut weight. He's saying this week, this is 99% sure that this is my last fight at 135 because I fucking hate cutting this weight. I can't stand cutting this weight. If you listen to him on Friday, you're going to be, he done like this and he can't. I mean, this guy is the guy that slows down. Even when he's having success, he backpacked Jan for 2 rounds. He still slowed down.
He is going to be a monster compared to Sean O'Malley. And obviously, Sean O'Malley is such a good striker. Anything can happen. Obviously.
And Sean doesn't get the credit he deserves either for his grappling. I think he can survive on the Sean. Aljo is.
I don't think Aljamain's going to submit.
He's not just submitting
I
everyone.
completely agree. No, I completely
There's so many people that are like, oh, easy takedown. He's going to get submitted first round finish. You better fucking hope he gets that first takedown.
I have no money on this because I don't trust it. He doesn't even want to be in this fight. He literally doesn't want to fight on this Saturday. He doesn't want to. Said he didn't want to. And not to prove your point, but there's an asterisk next to all of those Aljamain Sterling wins. He beat Henry Cejudo, Olympic gold medalist, who hadn't fought in 2 years.
He
And a lot of people think he lost that fight. He beat Petr Yan. A lot of people think he lost that fight. He won the belt against Petr Yan when he faked an injury. Like there's an asterisk next to
lost. He was one-arm
TJ
fighter.
had
It still
one
took him
arm.
2 rounds to finish this guy. TJ was literally getting up out of a full body triangle with one arm. Just like couldn't post at all. Was still got back to his feet.
No, so there's definitely, and that's why I did not bet on this fight. I just think Aljamain should be able to be much larger, come forward, lean on Sean, get Sean against the cage, ultimately take him down, slow down. The mistake Petr made is he got into a bar fight. Petr was just swinging wild, lost his technical striking. Aljamain will not do that. What?
I guarantee that if you asked anyone what you thought that Aljo's takedown percentage was in his last 8 fights, and then you told them 11%,
That's not 11. It's 23. It's 11 once you remove one of the fights.
I said, no, it's fucking 16% if you include TJ's last 8 fights, not his entire career. Still only 16%. This guy isn't getting takedowns as frequently as everyone thinks, man. And when he's not getting takedowns, he is not even half the fucking striker Sean is. Not even half.
I don't disagree with any of that. I still think he's just going to come forward, lean on Sean against the cage, work him to the ground, and just be. The problem is, if he gets a takedown, he's going to hold you there. And I know Sean O'Malley scrambles. He's got good grappling and all those things, but I think Aljamain could have some early success. Sean never been in a title fight, never been in a 5-round fight. This is when those things might matter. Or Sean's going to be who he is, laser pinpoint accuracy, focused, take his time, land those shots. And that Chris Motino win, bad luck. Like, I get he was doing everything he was supposed to do, but like,
I mean, he's just a durable guy. I mean, he just fucking just landed every shot he could.
Flatlined in his next fight immediately.
Well, I mean, damage is going to add up, and that was also fucking Guido Canetti. That was the easiest lock of the week, literally, of all time. I can't believe Chris Motino had that performance versus Sean O'Malley and then was a favorite versus Guido Canetti. I could not believe that. But I will say this. The only thing that does worry me about Sean is him being hesitant on taking the shot. Meaning he's got it when the shot's there. Because Aljo, I promise, will give him an opportunity. And that's exactly right. And that's why I love Tim Welsh in the corner. Because Tim Welsh, if you watch the countdown and everything, is already in his ear. You're going to have the shot. You're going to knock him out. You're going to knock him out. Because when that entry comes, because Aljo strikes to get to the level changes. When it comes, you have to fucking commit on that shot. And I hope that he commits. And if he commits, this is going to be a fun night for me. I'll fucking tell you that, man. Holy shit, is it going to be fun?
Listen, I'm glad I don't have money on it. I just want to enjoy this fight. I will say for DraftKings, this is probably a pick your side. If Aljamain wins, he'll score really, really well because there is going to be grappling. He's not going to win this fight striking. So there will be grappling. There will be control time. If Sean O'Malley wins, I don't see him winning a decision. It's going to win by finish. I could easily see him win a decision, honestly. And that's what I'm not chasing finishes right now. In the group chat with Josh, the styles are too different. One of them wins very dominantly. I don't see it going to a decision. That's what you said.
Well, I have a bet for that too. But I could see where Aljo is controlling kind of the wrestling in the first or 2 rounds. And I hope that's not the fact, but I could definitely see where it doesn't get the finish. And we've seen Aljo slow down. And then Sean, as you mentioned, he fought Chris Motino. It took him a while to finish him. And if Sean has a little pop out of his shots, and then he's just laying volume, I mean, this could turn into a decision fight. I don't think that's how it's going to happen, but it could. I don't think it's 100% going to be a finish, but that's the way I played it. And I hope it is, because I think he's going to fucking hurt this guy fucking early, man.
I don't necessarily think it's I think it probably goes to a decision. I just don't think Sean O'Malley wins a decision. But either way, this is a pick your side in DraftKings for sure because whoever wins is going to score really, really well. I have to imagine that's how that's going to go down. Couple of super chats. $4.99 from Cloud LLC. Didn't bet your lock of the week. DFS is my favor. I just felt bad. $5 on 2K, really. Thank you very much, Cloud. Hold on, there's a whole bunch more.
We got him fired up.
20 from Funky. Funky says there's no way O'Malley's going to win. I wager $100 that your boy will look bad. How dare you, Jacob? How dare you pick him as lock of the week after the good run you had? He is fade of the week. Have my money ready. Jacob, you should have a bet openly bet and throw it right in the chat.
Oh, I'm going to put a $200 bet openly bet on there. I promise you that.
And then we'll post it, and everybody can try to grab the other side. The best part, as I mentioned about Bet Openly, is it's Jacob's money. It's his actual. If you win that, that is his money. I am literally that dude in the Discord that ran his mouth. Tomorrow, I'm going to buy a salad sandwich. A place called Breadzilla. It's in the Colony. That place is good. Taking a picture of it. That guy bought me that salad sandwich. That's his $10. Then we have a $1.99 from Alan. He says, Aljo, gonna ride him like a baloney.
I wouldn't be surprised if Aljo didn't get one fucking takedown in this fight.
That's not how you spell baloney, by the way. Which is pretty funny. Bologna. It's in the song. And is that it for the...
What about, the Oscar Mayer Wiener song?
Na 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 na, Oscar Mayer Wiener.
I'm trying to remember too.
Na 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 na.
And then I want to be an Oscar Mayer Wiener.
I want to be an Oscar Mayer Wiener. Na na na, everybody wants to. Something like that. Anyway, this is fun.
Footwork. Key to this fight's footwork. Sean's very good at circling away, not being against the cage. He's going to surprise some people. Not me.
Well, guys, don't forget the Discord is 100% free. 100% free if you're a premium member. It unlocks certain channels. But for the most part, the Discord is 100% free. Thank you all. We're averaging over or about 1,000 subscribers on the YouTube channel a month. We have well over 2,000 premium members. We're well over 2.5 million views on the YouTube channel. Everything's incredible. Thank you all. That is all because of you.
Check out, by the way, too. I know that I gave away my Lock of the Week already, but please go watch the Lock of the Week video. I promise
awesome.
you're going to enjoy it.
The video is incredible. The video's a lot. It's great. It's a great video. I agree with you, Jakey boy. Hey guys, send the video to Sean O'Malley because that is definitely a retweetable, especially the part with him. The first part he probably doesn't give a fuck about. The part with him is definitely that's high quality shit. Go to WeWantPicks.com/bets. Sign up with any one of our betting partners, make a deposit, and I will send you $50 as a thank you. It's affiliate marketing. You're going to use the link. I'm going to get paid. I'm going to take some of that money. I'm going to give it right back to you. You can use that money to become a premium member. Premium membership is going to get you courses. We literally have courses outlined detailing how to walk through DraftKings, what the terms all mean, how much money you should spend, what type of contest you should enter that money in. We're going to give you the line movement tracker. This is a tool to help track line movement, as it says. We're going to give you detailed data, metrics, and analytics. And we're going to give you far more than just me and Jakey Boy. You're going to get me, Jakey Boy, Artem, the Pick Doctor, and then there's another crew that we are going to add as well with their insight and their information. A final super chat, $2 from Catfish Dilly, thanking Jacob for mentioning Sean O'Malley's coach. Thank you very much,
And
Catfish.
Fran. I love Tim because they're best friends, and obviously Sean, you could tell he trusts him and will listen to him. But when it's time to be a coach, he's not a yes man. That's what I like about Tim. He will coach Sean when it's time to coach. In between rounds, he's making reads for him. And I think Catfish Daily too said in the Discord that Sean has talked about. It's like having two sets of eyes when I'm fighting. Like he sees stuff, and Sean has convinced the world that he is a lazy guy that doesn't really give a shit and doesn't work hard. He is a high IQ guy that works his fucking ass off, and he's going to prove that Saturday night.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm glad I don't have any money on it because I just want to be able to enjoy it, honestly, just enjoy the fight and be happy no matter what happens. Thanks for everything. WeOnPicks.com. Website's down right now. GoDaddy's doing some server maintenance, but that'll be back up and running probably by the time you watch this. Do all the things, and we will see you later in the week for even more content.